Chapter 251, The Son's Wrongdoings is the Father's Failure to Teach. Dead, he is truly dead. What happened? What the heck is happening here? Fei's corpse was on the ground like a dead dog. How could it not attract attention? In just a short period of time, the commotion here had become so big that it spread throughout the whole camp. More and more people started gathering. Most of them cried out in surprise when they saw Fei's corpse, as they would start inquiring about the events. In moments, the scene was surrounded by layers of human walls, whisperings and discussions could be heard everywhere. Two people suddenly fought and one died immediately after. It's terrible. He is the killer. Someone cautiously pointed at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was holding his arms crossed at his chest and his head held high. He was standing indifferently at the same spot, and ignored the discussions in the surroundings as if they didn't exist. Hey, he is only a servant, how could he kill a Gu master? There were naturally people who were doubtful. He is not a servant, I personally saw him shooting out a white spear and also killing Fei in one punch, it frightened the soul out of me. A Gu master who had seen the whole event, said. A white spear. Xianxia's heart suddenly jumped when he heard this. He had accidentally witnessed the death of Xianxia and the image of Fang Yuan's spiral bone spear was deeply ingrained in his mind. Thus, when he heard this sensitive term, white spear, he immediately linked both scenes. What is happening? What the hell happened here? Jia Long's displeased voice traveled over. Ah, it is the caravan leader and the vice leaders too. The crowd quickly made a way. Someone is dead. Alright, someone was killed, isn't this vice leader O's son? The vice leader who looked at this scene commented in a low voice. Just after he finished speaking, a mournful scream resounded in everyone's ears. Ah! My son! What happened to you, what happened to you? A figure rapidly ran to Fei's corpse, then his movement slowed down all of a sudden. This person was clan's Yanggong, he was short and thin, with an aquiline nose. Fei's face was completely smashed, his brains and blood mixed together to form a small puddle on the ground. It was clear his life force was already completely extinguished. Yanggong fixed his eyes at his son's corpse, tears rolling down his face. My son, you died such a terrible death. Who was it? Who was the one that killed my son so viciously? I am going to rip him into pieces. He was ballistic with anger and his scream was like the ravings of a madman. Seemingly as a reply to his question, every gazes gathered on Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan sneered and calmly said, Of course it is me. Are you blind? I have been standing here for so long and you couldn't see me? Such an arrogant reply caused the crowd to immediately fall into a clamor. Jia Long and other vice leaders also couldn't help frowning. Fang Yuan's fearless appearance was causing them to hesitate. In particular, Fang Yuan's servant clothings made them unable to see the ins and outs of this situation, thus they cautiously chose to stay on the sidelines. You are the killer. Yanggong stared intently at Fang Yuan with gaze as sharp as a knife, but despite being almost crazed with hatred, he didn't make a move. Fang Yuan was slightly surprised. His own son was lying dead in front of him, but this Yanggong was actually restraining his killing intent and didn't rush at him. Actually, who among those who traveled outside to trade weren't observant? Yanggong had lived for so long and was habituated to life or death in his travels. He was an elder and being able to stand in such a high position in clan was a proof of his ability. However, him not making a move didn't mean Fang Yuan wouldn't. In all honesty, Fei's appearance had made Fang Yuan extremely happy, he would make an example out of him as a warning to others, and his strong presence could then awe the crowd. But just an Fei wasn't enough for it. But what if he added in this Yang Gong? Ha ha ha, that would be perfect. Fang Yuan's lips curled up into an evil smile as he thought of this. Old man, you appeared just in time. Your son dared to be disrespectful to my clan's lady, the anger in my heart has yet to dissipate. Your son committed a crime because you didn't discipline him properly. You are the main cause of this, now pay with your life. After saying this, he ran forward and, in a blink of an eye, he was almost about to collide against Yang Gong. Yang Gong's beard flew with rage. What was this nonsense? What twisted reasoning was this? This guy was clearly the killer but was framing him as the main culprit. He was no longer able to restrain his anger and fiercely struck back at Fang Yuan. Bang, the two collided against each other. There was a muffled sound and wind surged around them. Fang Yuan continuously took 5 to 6 steps back before he was able to mitigate the impact. The light armor on him flashed weakly several times and then stabilized. In his aperture, Canopy Gu had already become listless. In contrast, Yang Gong was sent flying like a puppet with its strings cut. He puffed out blood in mid-air, and could barely stand up when he fell on the ground, his face already pale as paper. Anyone could see who was stronger. How could this be? That ugly guy is clearly showing an aura of a rank 2 Gu master. Yang Gong is disadvantaged, he is old and has become weak. In contrast, that guy is using his advantage to the fullest. The vice leaders quickly analyzed the situation. You are courting death. Yang Gong managed to recover after their initial confrontation, his anger flourished even more, wishing he could immediately rip Fang Yuan into pieces. Just before, he hadn't expected Fang Yuan to make the first move, and not having any information on Fang Yuan, under the urgency of the situation, he couldn't think properly and chose to meet Fang Yuan head-on. Rascal, I will let you know the difference between rank 2 and rank 3. Yang Gong roared in rage and charged at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was fearless as he maintained the Canopy Gu, with a spiral bone spear in one hand, Blood Moon Gu in another and jumping grass on his feet. He also rushed towards Yang Gong. The crowd quickly retreated, opening up a huge empty space. Yang Gong was at rank 3 initial stage, and Fang Yuan was at rank 2 upper stage. The difference between their cultivation bases was extremely far, with the separation of a small realm and a big realm on top of that. However, Fang Yuan's situation was very unusual. He possessed snow-silver primeval essence borrowed from Bai Ningbing and mostly used rank 3 Gu worms. His total fighting strength was even higher than Yang Gong. The two fought for 5 rounds, but Fang Yuan was still at the dominating end. The crowd were aghast at this situation. This. What the hell is going on? A rank 3 Gu master is actually being pressured by a rank 2 Gu master. This is ridiculous. The crowd couldn't believe this scene, and many had even dazed expressions. After several more rounds, Fang Yuan completely maintained the upper hand and was firmly suppressing Yang Gong. A small portion of the crowd realized something. This ugly guy is showing rank 2 aura, but his true cultivation is definitely above this. Right, he must be using a Gu worm to conceal his aura. We didn't discover it when he was pretending to be a servant before. This guy is really vicious. He has been targeting Yang Gong's vital parts. It doesn't seem to bode well for Yang Gong. Right now, Yang Gong was having incessant grievances in his heart. He had thought he could easily beat Fang Yuan, but to think this guy was actually a wolf in sheep's clothing. It was no wonder he took the initiative to attack and looked fearless. It was because his cultivation base was not inferior to him. This guy really was too despicable and shameless. After several more rounds, the result was clear for all to see. Most of the crowd could see how terrible Yanggong's situation would be. Yanggong is sure to lose, he will be killed if this continues on. Yanggong is weaker than the other guy and has been slowly losing since the start of the battle. He won't be able to avenge his son's death. This ugly guy is really powerful with such great strength and vicious methods. Where in the world did this guy pop out from? I know this guy, he is that servant who won against numerous bandit monkey kings in Fei Ho Mountain. The crowd commented one after another. They were worried, curious, afraid and shocked. Both of you, please stop. There has to be some misunderstandings here. Seeing Yanggong about to be killed by Fang Yuan, Jia Long, as the caravan leader, couldn't just sit back anymore. He quickly moved to the battlefield and interrupted the battle. Right now, Yanggong was already soaked with sweat, his heart throbbed rapidly in fear of death and his face was deadly pale. Hearing Jia Long's words, he immediately felt joyous and saw a light of hope. He immediately got away from Fang Yuan and moved closer to Jia Long. Fang Yuan quickly swept his eyes and realized he would not be able to reach Yang Fei in time. He gave a loud laugh and his momentum stopped. Brother Jia Long came in time, let's use the bone spear to kill him together. The moment these words came out, the whole crowd was stumped. This ugly guy knew leader Jia Long. This was the first thought the crowd had. Greeting in such an affectionate way, their relation looked pretty good. This was the second thought the crowd had. No, he might be intentionally saying this to mislead them. This was the third thought the crowd had. As the proverb goes, people involved in the situation are baffled while the spectators observe clearly. The spectators weren't battling, naturally they could think more clearly. At this moment, Jia Long was feeling bewildered, because he had never even exchanged a word with Fang Yuan before. Yanggong was even more bewildered, he couldn't come to a judgment as to what relation Jia Long and Fang Yuan had. He knew Fang Yuan could just be bluffing, but what if it was true? If it were to be true, then he would be pincer attacked by Fang Yuan and Jia Long. It was a matter concerning his own life. Yanggong naturally wouldn't dare to take the risk, thus he changed the direction and escaped towards southeast direction, away from Fang Yuan and Jia Long. Calm down. Jia Long immediately stopped to avoid arousing any suspicions. Fang Yuan laughed loudly and chased. Yanggong immediately realized he had fallen in Fang Yuan's trap. He was just about to speak up when suddenly someone charged out from the crowd. Bai Ningbing attacked ruthlessly. In that instant, 3 spiral bone spears shot out in a row. There was actually another person. Yanggong was horrified and subconsciously activated his defensive Gu without even turning around. However, this Gu was like a spent arrow, it blocked 2 spiral bone spears, but the third bone spear directly pierced through Yang Fei's head from the back and penetrated his front skull. Yanggong died. His death caused everyone to turn pale in fright. A huge uproar occurred among all those present. This was a vice leader of the caravan, a rank 3 Gu master. Yanggong's death caused the caravan leader and vice leaders to turn pale, feeling a dense threat. Brazen lunatics. They really dared to kill a vice leader. Let's combine our strength and capture them. Who dares to capture me? Bai Ningbing threw away her straw hat, her silver hair floated in the air and her cold eyes swept through everyone as she fully released her snow-silver primeval essence. Ah, it is snow-silver primeval essence. She is actually a rank 3 peak stage Gu master. In the caravan, only Jia Long was in rank 3 upper stage, rest of the leaders were either in initial stage or middle stage. The group that were just about to make their moves, suddenly halted. Come if you want to die, ha ha ha. Fang Yuan stood side by side with Bai Ningbing, and willed a thread of snow-silver primeval essence from his aperture, playing with it in his hand. Oh God! Another rank 3 peak stage. The crowd trembled in fear, their momentum completely stopped. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing gazed at everyone with cold, indifferent eyes. The camp was silent, completely silent. Chapter 252, The only thing that matters is strength. Whoosh! Mountain winds blew through the camp, enhancing the quietness of the camp even more. The 100 over people formed a circle. Inside the circle were 2 dead bodies and 2 standing people. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing's gaze slowly swept through everyone, many did not even dare to match their cold gaze. At the end, Fang and Bai's gaze landed on Jialong and other caravan leaders. These people had charged out aggressively, but were immediately taken aback by the cultivation levels Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing revealed. Right now, they were in a situation where they could neither retreat nor advance. With the loss of O Yanggong and O Fei, the caravan now had 11 rank 3, 27 rank 2 and 38 rank 1 Gu masters. Their combined strength was naturally greater than Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing by a lot. However, the caravan was only a temporary mix-match of different groups. These Gu masters were from their respective clans and were normally engaged in scheming and guarding against each other. They would only cooperate if it was under a favorable situation. They had their own interests and were not a united bloc, and had their own ways of doing things. They were of different minds and would not be easy to lead. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing displayed rank 3 peak stage cultivation, no doubt they were 2 tough figures. No single clan could take them down alone, and even if they combined their strength, there would definitely be severe damage to the caravan. Momentarily, Jia Long, Chen Shuangjin and other leaders looked at Fang and Bai, before quietly sizing up each other. None of them wanted to be cannon fodder and benefit others instead. Moreover, the current situation was one where the beast groups frequently attacked, everyone in the caravan were having trouble protecting themselves, let alone care about others. External pressure and the worries in their heart made them hesitate. The corner of Fang Yuan's lips curled up into an indistinct smile, their reactions were all within his expectations. Now, it is all up to her. Although things had escalated quickly and he hadn't communicated with Xianxia, Fang Yuan believed she should be able to sense this opportunity with her intelligence. Sure enough, the next moment, Xianxia and Xiao Dai walked out of the tent. Caravan leaders, these 2 are my Zhang clan's hidden elders, Lord He Tu and Lord Bai Yun. Xianxia took this chance to introduce them. Her voice wasn't loud, but she was the only one speaking among everyone present, thus everyone could clearly hear her. The caravan leaders all had different expressions, whereas the crowd began to think over the 2 names, He Tu and Bai Yun. Xianxia faintly smiled. The 2 lords were on a secret clan mission and coincidentally entered this caravan on the way. The caravan leaders looked at each other, all falling into silence. Since they were hidden elders, even Zhang clan's clan leader might not necessarily know of their existences. Moreover, the secret clan mission meant it was inappropriate to inquire about their motives. Xianxia's 2 sentences blocked any questions they wanted to ask. Of course, although these words were reasonable, it was only a one-sided statement by Xianxia. The caravan leaders were all astute, each of them had made their own contemplations in their minds. Nobody was thoroughly convinced and suspicious ones were still suspicious. But whether suspicious or believing, Fang and Bai's strength were already displayed before them, so there could only be one way to end this. Thereupon. So it was like that. Everything was a misunderstanding. Jia Long suddenly laughed, his face revealing a warm smile. He cupped his hands towards Fong and Bai, and sincerely praised them. I had never expected such great heroes to be hidden in our midst. This father and son from O clan were indeed too unreasonable, and their way of doing things were also questionable. I have already persuaded them many times before, but a pity they didn't take it to heart. Their execution today can be said to be their just deserts. These words had immediately concluded this matter. The other vice leaders also responded at this moment, cupping their hands at Fong and Bai while cursing Jia Long inwardly for being shameless. Zhang clan is well known and is worthy of being one of the top clans of our southern border. I am Lei Gong Cheng of Lei clan. It is my good fortune to be able to meet both of you. It is our great fortune that both of you have exterminated evil for us. The vice leaders were all full of smiles as they said nonsense, twisting logic as they pleased. The killers became the righteous representative while the O clan's father and son became evildoers. As for O clan's other Gu masters, there were only 3 of them remaining, who cared about their unsightly expressions. In any case, O Yang Gong was dead, without a rank 3 Gu master, who would dare to be bold? Who could stand up for them? You scoundrels, still not greeting the 2 lords. One of the vice leaders shouted while pretending to be displeased. We pay respects to Lord He Tu and Lord Bai Yun. Over 20 people immediately bowed and greeted Fong and Bai. The whole camp was again sent into a clamor. The caravan has suffered heavy losses and is on the brink of crisis. It is our fortune to have met both of you. Please, I invite you into the tent to further discuss our situation. Jia Long walked closer and invited them sincerely. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing glanced at each other, before Fang Yuan walked towards Xianxia and consulted, Xianxia, what is your opinion? Seeing this scene, Jia Long immediately raised the status of Xianxia in his mind. Xianxia slightly shook her head and spoke with a delicate tone, I am tired, it is better for the caravan leaders to discuss together. Fang Yuan inwardly praised her intelligence. This was just the time to take a step back to make an opportunity for greater advances later. He nodded and said in agreement, our Zhang clan's goods have all been donated, we have no interest towards these and will not interfere. This. Jia Long hesitated and was about to persuade, but Xianxia had already turned around. Fong and Bai also left in an impressive way without giving any opportunity to Jia Long, leaving behind this crime scene for others to deal with. Alright, everyone get back to your work now. The camp still needs to be strengthened. It is a good thing 2 rank 3 peak stage Gu masters appeared. And the O clan's people, clean up these 2 corpses. The only 3 remaining Gu masters of the O clan ran over. 1 rank 2 middle stage and 2 rank 1 Gu masters, tears flowed down their faces as they held in their hatred, lowered their heads and carried the father and son's corpses. The crowd slowly dispersed. The high-spirited caravan leaders couldn't maintain their composure any longer when they were back at the tent, their expressions fluctuating, as the hypocritical smiles disappeared from their faces, into sullenness, bewilderment, indifference and worry. Jia Long slowly sat down on the main seat and spoke with a gloomy voice, the sudden appearance of 2 Gu masters, what do you make of it? Humph, these are 2 lawless lunatics, publicly killing people. That pitiful O Yang Gong, we were just here sitting with him a moment ago. I feel like these 2's origins are highly suspicious. What hidden elders, that is only that Zhang clan girl's one-sided statement. From these 2's behaviors, they are very likely to be demonic Gu masters. That's right, occasions like demonic paths Gu masters entering the caravan are common. I bet that Zhang clan girl was threatened by them. Jia Long nodded, my thoughts are also about the same as yours. Zhang clan's proud personality and their strengths are all known to us, how could there be any hidden elders? But, these two are vicious and also rank 3 peak stage. Yes, this is troublesome. These two don't look to be old, but have already reached rank 3 peak stage. Such talent. Ha ha ha, everything has merits and demerits. The way I see it, this is also good. Their strengths will greatly increase our power. A vice leader spoke. The crucial thing is how can we use them for our benefits. Just now, I took the initiative to invite them to discuss these matters and make them work for us, but it ended up in failure. Jia Long heaved a sigh. Humph, not lending their strength? When the beast groups attack, who can do nothing? By then, it's not up to them. A vice leader spoke in a displeased tone. This matter needs to be considered properly. Demonic Gu masters are arrogant and unyielding, trying to force them with only external pressure won't work, they need to be pressured from both inside and outside. I am not sure what Brother Gong's son is suggesting. My suggestion is simple, but I am afraid you might not like it. It is to give a portion of the goods to those two. They will naturally step forward to protect their goods when the time comes. The camp fell into silence immediately. Jia Long looked around before speaking. This suggestion is good. Humans die for wealth and birds die for food. Without any clan's backing, demonic Gu masters have an intense thirst towards cultivation resources. Moreover, you don't need to be worried about incurring losses. Did you forget O clan? The pondering gazes of the group immediately started brightening. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing's sudden appearance had made Zhang clan into an influential force in the caravan, while O clan was thrown by them into the weakest position. O clan's father and son were dead, the remaining 2 to 3 small fry in the O clan group were nothing to worry about. The goods held by O clan seemed quite substantial. Uncle. I have an important matter to inform you. Xianxia had constantly been paying attention to the tent, and once the discussion inside was over, he approached the Chen clan's caravan leader Chen Shuangjin. Chen Shuangjin grabbed his hand. I know what you want to say. This is not the right place, let's go. The two returned to their own tent and after confirming no one was eavesdropping, Xianxia spoke, Uncle, do you remember I reported to you about how Zhang Zhu was murdered? Chen Shuangjin's face was grave as he nodded his head. Zhang Zhu was killed by someone with bone spears. And today, that He Tu and Bai Yun also used bone spears. That is it. Uncle, those two are harboring some unfathomable motives, are very ruthless. We need to make their crime known and combine our strength to kill off this danger early. Xianxia was agitated. Chen Shuangjin slowly shook his head and sighed. Xianxia was puzzled. Uncle, you don't approve? It is not that I don't approve, but that it is not feasible. I saw with my own eyes, we have evidence. As long as we announce the matter about them killing Zhang Zhu, no one will tolerate these backstabbing traitors. Humph, evidence. There is witness testimony, but what about material evidence? Chen Shuangjin scoffed, even if we have material evidence, what good it would do. My nephew, only evidence is of no use. The main thing is whether you have the strength. Just before, they killed the O clan's father and son, you also saw that and others also saw it. We are all witnesses, but is it any use? We are all from different clans, but with us having different motives, how could we deal against these two foes? Uncle, are we going to just ignore them? They are too dangerous, I can't even sleep properly. What if they find out that I know? The more Xianxia spoke, the more fearful he became. Humph, you think too greatly of yourself. You think they don't know about you? Maybe they already know, or maybe they already saw you but didn't make a move. Why is that? Because you are nothing to worry about. Xianxia, stop being naive. In this cold world, the only thing that matters is strength. Chen Shuangjin heaved a deep sigh. Xianxia remained dazed at the spot. He clenched his fists, his uncle's words struck his young heart and he couldn't say anything for a long while. Chapter 253, Only the Dead Are Clean. Dark clouds filled the sky, bringing forth a heavy atmosphere and signs of heavy rain. The caravan moved along the mountain path with a solemn atmosphere. All the large black-skinned fat beetles in the caravan were dead. 2 winged snakes remained but in a crippled state. Instead it was the baggage toads that survived mostly, all because they were small in size and moved pretty fast, easily hiding from the wild beasts' attacks. As for the ostriches, they were similar in size to the backpack toads, but they had a habit of burying their heads in the ground once they sensed any threats, so this caused their casualty to be the highest. Xianxia was mixed in the crowd, her gaze somewhat complex as she looked at the dozen of baggage toads beside her. The goods these baggage toads were carrying were all Zhang clans. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing didn't participate in the discussion, but the caravan leaders still sent large quantities of goods to her. All of this because of strength. Xianxia sighed. Previously, when Zhang Zhu was here, these caravan leaders showed an indifferent attitude, but now, they were polite to the extent that they even seemed to currying favor with her. Moreover, when these Gu masters and the servants looked at her now, their gazes carried reverence and fear. All these changes are due to them. Xianxia gave a complex gaze towards Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing, who were not that far away. On one hand, she received a feeling of security from Fang and Bai, while on the other hand, the kind-hearted her felt fear from how they were able to easily kill people. Ha ha ha, it seems we have really frightened that girl. Bai Ningbing was walking side by side with Fang Yuan and feeling Xianxia's gaze, she laughed softly. 7 to 8 days had passed since they killed O clan's father and son. This had affected the whole caravan, including Xianxia and Xiao Dai. Xiao Dai did not even dare to breath loudly in front of Fang and Bai, while Xianxia also didn't dare to match Fang Yuan's gaze anymore. Such reactions were all within Fang Yuan's expectations. This master and servant pair grew up in Zhang clan since young, the righteous path ideology was ingrained into them. It was inevitable for them to be aware of the differences when Fang and Bai displayed their demonic nature. They would have to change their thought process to accept these 2 demonic path figures. Fang Yuan wasn't worried. They would have no choice but to accept and compromise when they face external pressure. After all, humans wanted to keep on living. After few beast group attacks, the estrangement in their hearts would gradually disappear. The problem now is him. Fang Yuan looked at Xianxia. This young Gu master was the guy that fled together with Zhang Zhu. Fang Yuan had thought he was already smashed into meat paste by white feather flying elephant, but to think he was actually alive. Gu masters that possessed unusual Gu worms, even if their cultivations were not high, could not be looked down upon. Fang Yuan had lost the earth-hearing ear grass and had no other scouting methods, causing him to overlook Xianxia. He also did not know how much the latter had found out. But regardless, he had countermeasures for everything. He was cautious in nature and always considered failures first. At that time, he already had measures prepared if someone found out. Thus, after he killed Zhang Zhu, he intentionally displayed formidable strength. If someone had really found out, they would thus be scared by Fang and Bai's vicious strength, and would keep themselves hidden. O clan's father and son ran themselves into the line of fire. Had it not been for O Fei coming to find trouble, Fang Yuan would have looked for trouble himself or display his formidable methods during beast group attacks. Naturally, Fang Yuan had many methods to strike back even if he was exposed. The caravan leader Jia Long was one such chess piece. He was Jia Fu's subordinate and Fang Yuan had received a token from Jia Fu back at Guyu village. As long as he showed the command token, he could obtain Jia Long's trust for several actions. However, for every single plan, no matter how perfect it appeared, accidents could always occur when they were implemented. Also known as, man proposes but God disposes one. Even if Fang Yuan had plentiful experience, was astute and had deep foresight, he also had the possibility to fail. But it was because of this, that life could be so brilliant and full of uncertainty. Fang Yuan's first consideration was the worst outcome. If his luck was extremely bad and someone saw him or he left behind ironclad evidence when he killed Zhangzhu, and it led to Xianxia realizing the truth, she would feel deep hatred towards him, someone who bit the hands that fed him. What to do then? Simple, kill Xianxia. She was only a mortal now and killing her was very simple. Shang clan's clan leader also didn't know she was his own daughter, there would be no repercussions from Shang clan if he killed her secretly. Looking at the outcome now, Zhangzhu was dead but Fang Yuan's luck wasn't the best as he left behind a trail. But it was also not the worst, at least Xianxia was still in the dark. Fang Yuan was sure of this because Xianxia was still young and her emotions were completely exposed in his eyes. There is a crocodile-elephant 2 group ahead. A crocodile-elephant group is charging towards us. Be on guard, be on guard. An investigative Gu master hurried towards the caravan from ahead, bringing bad news. A disturbance occurred in the caravan before quickly turning calm. It is just crocodile elephants, no need to panic. We don't have enough manpower to defend ourselves here. Correct. Everyone disperse, enter the rainforests. Gu masters gave forth the most sensible command, people were already in a very strained state and were able to quickly disperse in all directions. If they had encountered such situation before Fei Ho Mountain, they might be worried about their goods and keep on hesitating. Now however, they firmly gave up the goods without taking another glance at them, concentrating on fleeing. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing directly charged straight into the rainforest while protecting Xianxia and Xiao Dai. He was not surprised at the crocodile-elephant group's arrival because it was his plan. Rumble. The crocodile-elephant group stomped its way through, soon there were blood-curdling screams and sound of trees falling down. Fang Yuan carefully led Xianxia and others through the rainforest, but there were too many crocodile-elephants, they still ran into one. Crocodile-elephants were small in size, about the same size as yaks, which allowed them to be more agile. Their whole body were covered in scales like that of a crocodile with defense that far surpassed white feather-flying elephants. Their tails that was similar to that of crocodiles, trailing along the ground. Ah! Xiao Dai let out a scream upon the sight of this hill-like crocodile-elephant charging at them. Xianxia was also pale. No need to worry. Fang Yuan indifferently said, before charging towards the crocodile-elephant. One human and one elephant collided midway, their collision producing a loud sound. Fang Yuan took 2 steps back, and the white light armor on his body flickered thrice. But that crocodile-elephant, its skull directly shattered and blood spurted out as it fell on the ground, pushed back by a dozen steps before colliding against the trunk of a large tree and stopped. Amazing! Xiao Dai's eyes were wide open with shock. This was an ordinary crocodile-elephant and not a 100-beast king, while Fang Yuan possessed snow-silver primeval essence along with the strength of 2 boars and a crocodile, handling it was naturally very easy. However, Xianxia and Xiao Dai had never seen such fierce scene. Zhangzhu did not have great physical strength and was also a healing Gu master, so he relied mainly on dodging and assisting during a battle. Fang Yuan, however, met the attack head-on, fighting without restraint. This naturally left a deep impression on the master and servant pair. About 2 hours later, the crocodile-elephant group gradually left and the caravan group started walking out of the rainforest. After the casualties were counted, they had only lost a Gu master and a dozen servants. It was not a big loss. The caravan set on their journey again after reorganizing all the goods. Several days later, they were out of Xianxia mountain region, and began their journey to Mubei mountain. Within the next half a month, the caravan was attacked by black rock bears, iron-crowned deers and other beast groups. And because Fang and Bai acted as inseparable bodyguards, Xianxia and Xiao Dai suffered no harm. This close contact all the time started to change the master and servant's attitude. Xianxia started to get much closer to Fang Yuan, cheerfully talking with him and no longer evading his gaze. Xiao Dai had completely changed into a worshipper of Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing. Worshipping the strong was the character of all living beings, because strength meant higher probability of survival. Moreover, Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing were people with principles even though they were of demonic path. In the two girls' perspective, those two did not ask for anything nor took advantage of them, only returning a favor. This conduct was full of heroic aura, and even among righteous path, how many people had such character? No matter how ugly Fang Yuan looked, in the master and servant's heart, he was much more likable than the many hypocritical and crafty righteous path people. Several days later, the caravan entered Mubei mountain region. Zombies started appearing. Mubei mountain hadn't always had the same name. Over 100 years ago, there was a large clan on this mountain. A demonic Gu master changed everything. He used to be a servant of this clan. At the day of his wedding, his beautiful wife had been seized by a Gu master of the clan and humiliated to death. He buried this hatred deep into his heart and as luck would have it, he obtained the inheritance of Zombie King, a demonic head. After enduring hardships for nearly 100 years, with rank 5 cultivation, he commanded an army of zombies and attacked the clan, slaughtering everyone. He did not spare their corpses, turning them into zombies. After finishing all this, he erected a huge tombstone in the ruins of the clan. On the tombstone, he carved his wife's name. This event shook the whole southern border. This mountain has been called Mubei Mountain ever since then. Zombies roamed free on the mountain, killing wild beasts or passerbys, absorbing blood as their food. And the ptomaine on them would infect the corpses, producing new zombies. Like this, there were endless amount of zombies on Mubei Mountain. To protect the safety of the trade route, clans organized zombie hunting squadrons every year to clean up these zombies. But no matter how much they cleaned up, they could not kill all the zombies due to their endless numbers. After all, the zombie hunting squadrons were limited in size, with so many mountains in southern border and dangers in the way, they had to make considerable expenditures for this long expedition. It was a situation where they had to invest a lot but gained less, and even then it was impossible to overturn Mubei Mountain. As long as a zombie escaped, a zombie army would appear again after a short while. After failing several times even after large-scale expeditions, the enthusiasm of the people started to disappear. The caravan decided to camp at the base of Mubei Mountain for the night. The stars were shining brightly in the sky. Fang Yuan looked at the dark Mubei Mountain, a thoughtful look flashing through his eyes. It is time, these people are no longer valuable. It is time to settle all these troubles. Xianxia must die, but just disposing of him alone could make the situation even more troublesome. How much did he know, who had he revealed to, and were there anyone else who had seen the murder? Fang Yuan didn't know any of this. However, Fang Yuan had no intention to find out. Because in his plan, Xianxia would die and others would also die. Only the dead are clean. 3. Chapter 254, Assault of the Zombie Army. Ding Hao looked down at the caravan from the base of the mountain as he hid behind some bushes, licking his lips excitedly. According to the information in the cave, as long as I kill 1,000 people and amass a zombie army, I can leave this place and go to Xiaozhe Mountain to become a formal disciple of Master. Ding Hao was originally a villager but was recruited to be a laborer by a passing caravan. However, the caravan was attacked by a large number of zombies when they were passing through Mubei Mountain. He was abandoned along with dozens of other servants, as cannon fodder. While all the other servants died one after another, he ran deep into the mountain in panic. Just when he was driven into a corner, he discovered a cave. None of the zombies dared to approach this cave. He entered this cave and discovered a demonic inheritance. As it turns out, this was the hidden inheritance of that demonic Gu master who killed the whole clan and erected the tombstone in the ruins. This inheritance was deeply hidden and only mortals were allowed to inherit it. Ding Hao awakened his aperture in this cave and began to cultivate, passing each test one by one. He only had C-grade aptitude originally, but with the use of a rare Gu in the cave, his aptitude upgraded to B-grade. He concentrated fully on cultivating, and after spending over 8 years, he reached rank 3 realm, which was the criteria to enter the final secret chamber. The final secret chamber contained a stone slab which had an inscription left by that demonic Gu master: "I profess myself as the second zombie king. If a fated individual truly arrives here, if you so wish, you can go to Xiaozhe Mountain to be my official disciple and follow me to roam the southern border." As the final test, the second zombie king required the inheritor to kill 1,000 people and also raise a large zombie army. There were detailed standards to the test, such as how many white-hair zombies, black-hair zombies and green-hair zombies should be in the zombie army. However, if there was a blue-hair zombie, just one would suffice to meet the condition. Ding Hao was an honest man, and honest people usually had a strong point: they were steadfast. He cultivated on Mubei Mountain alone for over 8 years. He had to endure the silence and loneliness, having only the zombies as his companions as he cultivated bit by bit to rank 3. He had been a servant who could only be a spectator to the world of Gu masters, thus he did not understand many things. During the time of his bewilderment, this inscription on the stone slab no doubt gave him a whole new direction and a goal to strive. The fact that the second zombie king had also been a servant and their backgrounds were similar, resonated even more with Ding Hao's heart. After reading the inscription, Ding Hao started killing people and amassing his zombie army. Ding Hao soon realized these two missions actually complemented each other. He could use the corpses of the people he killed to obtain new zombies, and the new zombies could thereby increase his strength to kill more people. Mubei Mountain was located by one of the 3 most important trade routes of southern border, with caravans passing through it every month. Ding Hao spent another 3 years of time to reach this point where he was close to accomplishing the mission. The caravan at the base of this mountain would be his final stepping stone to success. And it was a perfect prey. There were caravans of all sizes, some big and some small. Ding Hao could do nothing more than hide far away every time a large-scale caravan passed by. He did not dare to attack the mid-scale caravan as well. Only against these small-scale caravans could Ding Hao make his move and secretly command the zombies to attack. When his luck was good, these caravans would abandon some livestock or servants to flee. When his luck was bad and ran into some tough nuts, the zombies would be slaughtered and inflict great losses to him. At those times, he could only slowly amass more zombies again. However, this caravan was smaller than even small-scale caravans and seemed to have already suffered huge damage. It was like an old man struggling at death's door who could fall over with a light push. Ding Hao had confidence he could deal with this caravan. He even felt this was a gift sent by the heavens. It was night time. Dark clouds flitted past in the sky, hiding the moon. The light was dim around the camp. "Kill!" Ding Hao's eyes suddenly brightened as he willed. The zombie army, which was already arranged properly, moved stealthily towards the camp from all directions. What sound is this? A very vigilant investigative Gu master positioned outside the camp seemed to have heard something. What is it? The few Gu masters beside him were tensed. The 5 Gu masters motionlessly stared at the darkness ahead of them. Although the moon was covered by the dark clouds, there was a huge bonfire burning in the camp. The bonfire produced crackling sounds as the wind brushed past. In the midst of the flickering flames, a zombie covered with white hair hopped into the investigative Gu master's vision. The few Gu masters looked at each other before laughing out loud. Huh, a white hair zombie. TSK, getting worried over nothing, scared the hell out of me. Xiao San, go take care of this unlucky zombie. The leader of this group of Gu masters said indifferently. White hair zombies were very weak, weaker than even the common wild beasts. Yes, boss. A young Gu master laughed and walked towards the zombie. Be careful of its corpse poison, it will be troublesome if you are infected, as I do not have an antidote type Gu. The healing master in the group reminded. Understood, understood. Do you take me as a 3-year-old child? The young Gu master impatiently waved his hand. If he was really infected with corpse poison, he could ask other Gu masters to heal him, but it would cost half a primeval stone at minimum. However, white hair zombies attacked in a set pattern and was easy to dodge. The young Gu master had already killed many of them since entering Mubei Mountain. There is no need to worry about this thing as long as I pay attention to dodging. Ugh. The young Gu master was mumbling to himself when he suddenly stopped on the spot, his voice stuck at his throat. His pupils shrunk rapidly and his mouth opened wide, his face revealing an extremely frightened expression. What is it? The 4 Gu masters at the rear felt something amiss and immediately asked. The young Gu master came to his senses, his whole body shook as if it was electrocuted before he immediately turned around and began running. Quick, sound the alarm. There are zombies. He screamed, his face filled with extreme fear. It is only a white hair zombie, why are you freaking out? What the foo dash? The 4 Gu masters all screamed. There were a few hundred white hair zombies hopping towards the camp. There were also the stronger black hair zombies mixed within the horde. Under the illumination of the bonfire, one could make out the overlapping figures in the darkness, but no one knew how many zombies were pressing forward. Clang clang clang. In the quiet camp, the sound of the bells suddenly rang. There is a zombie group moving towards the camp. They have surrounded the whole camp. Quick, quick, everyone prepare to defend. Jia Long and some vice leaders climbed up a wooden wall and observed the situation, their expressions extremely grave. Damn it, which deity did this caravan offend, such incredibly bad luck. I have been to Mubei Mountain dozens of times but have never seen such a large-scale zombie group. There is no use in complaining. Since we can't change this situation, we have to fight with our lives on the line if we want to live. We should combine our strength and defeat this zombie group. Everyone in the camp felt their morale increasing as they growled in anger. In contrast, the zombie army was completely silent, other than the constant sound of the jumping and landing. The troop arrangement in the two sides formed a strange and clear contrast. The battle unfolded completely. Gu masters relied on the defense of wooden walls and launched all kinds of long-range attacks. All kinds of color flashed around the camp, icicles, fireballs, vines, rolling boulders and so on collided right into the vanguard of the zombies. Large numbers of white-hair zombies fell, cut into pieces, burned to ashes, froze into ice cubes or stone-rolled into meat paste. Kill, slaughter them all. Ha ha ha. Ding Hao was observing all this from up the mountain with a cold smile on his face. He was no longer the inexperienced guy he once was. These white-hair zombies were cannon fodder meant to waste the Gu Master's primeval essence. Sure enough, after some time, the Gu Master's attacks became less frequent and weak. I am out of steam, I don't have much primeval essence left. I also need to recover my primeval essence. Can anyone take my place? Damn it, why are these white-hair zombies not decreasing? There were too few Gu Masters in the caravan while the white-hair zombies seemed to be endless. Finally, they were able to resist the pressure and reach the wooden wall. Under the attack of the zombie group, these temporarily constructed crude wooden walls immediately let out dangerous creaking sounds. Damn it, block them, block them. Call in the reserve forces. Both sides entered a deadlock around the wooden wall. One side charged forward while the other side guarded this barrier. The huge losses to the white-hair zombies caused Ding Hao's heart to ache. It is your turn, my babies. With a thought in his mind, a batch of black-hair zombies charged forward from the rear and entered the battlefield. White-haired zombies were slow and could be harmed by sunlight, so they couldn't move around in daytime. If they fed on blood for years, they could evolve into black-hair zombies. Black-hair zombies were covered with black hair, their strength and defensive ability were stronger than the white-hair zombies, and their hopping speed was much faster. Although they still received damage from sunlight, they didn't fear it like the white-hair zombies. Black-hair zombies had the strength of 100 Beast King. Ding Hao sent over 50 black-hair zombies in this batch, all of them charging forward in a group. They looked for a gap in the camp's defensive wall and immediately destroyed a part of it like dried twigs. Despite the camp sending more manpower to reinforce this gap, several black-hair zombies were still able to charge into the inner camp. A black-hair zombie swept around its arms and sent a rank 1 Gu Master flying. The Gu Master fell on the ground and was unable to stand up immediately. The black-hair zombie pounced at him. I am finished. The Gu Master closed his eyes in despair, but suddenly he heard a loud sound. He opened his eyes, a strong figure was blocking in front of him, while that black-hair zombie collapsed far away. It is Lord He Tu of Zhang clan. The Gu Master's heart shook. Grr. That black-hair zombie's chest had caved in from Fang Yuan's punch, but it wasn't dead. Instead it hopped up and charged towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was covered with a layer of white light armor. He slightly frowned and waited for it to come near him, then he grabbed its two arms and pulled them fiercely. The black-hair zombie was immediately torn apart into two halves. Foul blood that carried corpse poison splattered but was completely repelled by the white light armor. Fang Yuan casually threw the two halves of the corpse. Even a myriad Beast King level blue-hair zombie would die from such injuries. Thank you Lord He Tu for saving my life. The rescued Gu Master was completely absorbed in Fang Yuan's momentum and said with a voice filled with joy and reverence. Fang Yuan ignored him but directed his gaze towards the chaotic battlefield. Chapter 255, Ding Hao, get out here. By now, the wooden walls were already mostly collapsed, as hordes of zombies charged into the camp and fought with the Gu Masters. Upon seeing this, Fang Yuan was already certain this zombie army was manipulated by Ding Hao. If it was an ordinary zombie group, they would all swarm in like bees, or the black-hair zombies would attack after the white-hair zombies died. Where would there be battle tactics like shown here? Someone was clearly controlling them from behind. And no doubt, the one controlling these zombies was Ding Hao. Fang Yuan remembered the second zombie king left behind an inheritance after exterminating the clan on Mu Bei Mountain. The inheritor of this inheritance was Ding Hao. He later went on to become second zombie king's eldest disciple, and although he was of demonic path, he was very loyal. Later in the battle between righteous and demonic on Etion Mountain, he took the place of second zombie king of his own choice and died in the battle. I had thought of looking for you, but to think you would deliver yourself to me, that saves me a lot of time. Fang Yuan's plan had been to use this Ding Hao to eradicate the caravan and kill everyone. Although he had methods to attract the beast groups, it wasn't easy to control the size of it. The caravan's strength had already decreased to a very low level, and if large amounts of beast groups were attracted, it would instead cause his own life to be in danger. It would be even more troublesome to protect Xianxia on top of that. Under such circumstances, Ding Hao was the perfect chess piece. But where is this guy hiding? Fire blazed all around. Fang Yuan narrowed his eyes and observed his surroundings. He needs to be at a high ground if he wants to observe the battlefield and command the zombie army. Of course, he might have other goo worms which could give him a bird's-eye view of the camp. Regardless, the place he is hiding in should be convenient to escape. Fang Yuan lost the earth-hearing ear grass and possessed no other investigative methods, thus he had to rely on speculations. The battles were becoming more desperate. While hundreds of zombies were scattered all over the ground, there were also catastrophic losses to the Gu masters. Under the endless flood of the zombies, the Gu masters retreated bit by bit and soon reached the central area of the camp. There, a bunker was made by piling up goods, and some rank 1 Gu masters were using many methods to reinforce it. There are too many zombies, the defense here will fall sooner or later. We need to break the siege. Break the siege, how will we break through? There are dozens of black hair zombies. It would be better to reinforce our defense and wait for dawn. The zombies would receive a huge decrease in strength under the sunlight. We won't even need to make a move and they will retreat by themselves. Arguments arose, and people were divided into two sides. One wanted to break through while the other wanted to defend their positions. The two sides kept on arguing while the zombie horde was already pressing closer. This temporarily formed caravan showed its biggest weakness right now, being unable to truly unite and lacking a strong figure to take control of the situation. Fang Yuan had been observing the situation as a spectator. Now, he suddenly stood up, stopped shouting. The noisy scene quieted down almost instantly. In everyone's eyes, he was a rank 3 peak stage Gu master, one of the strongest experts in the caravan. Especially now at this critical life and death juncture, Fang Yuan had even more authority. Fang Yuan swept his cold and sharp gaze at everyone. His ugly face, under the illumination of the fire, was menacing and ruthless. All those that wants to stay and defend are idiots. Why should we stay here if we can break through? He fiercely scolded, giving off a strong impression. The Gu masters who were shouting about staying and defending showed indignant expressions, but they didn't dare to retort, while the Gu masters who insisted on breaking the siege were joyous. Lord He too is wise. Lord He too, we will follow you. Right now, only Lord He too can save us from this desperate crisis. They continued to praise Fang Yuan to the high heavens, wanting to make him take charge of the dangerous assault. However, Fang Yuan sneered and cursed, "Shut up. You bunch thinking of breaking through are even greater fools." Ugh. The Gu masters that were praising Fang Yuan stiffened, their expressions fluctuating rapidly, while those who insisted on defending their positions showed ridicule and mocking expressions. Then, Sir He too, what do you suggest? Jia Long's expression was dark as he spoke in a heavy voice with an unkind gaze. Humph, be it defending the position or breaking through the siege, the situation needs to be investigated properly first. Do you know the scale of this zombie horde? What if there is a large group of them hiding in the darkness? Wouldn't breaking through then be walking right into a trap? And if this is just all of them and you guys insist on defending your positions while you could clearly escape, the bloody odor would attract more zombies and you would just be sending yourselves to death. Fang Yuan spoke with such vigor that his saliva went flying out. Nobody would show a good expression after being scolded harshly. Chen Shuangjin asked in a gloomy voice, "Then what good suggestion do you have?" Fang Yuan opened his eyes wide in anger and pointed at Chen Shuangjin, "You fools, your brain is filled with shit. I have spoken for so long and no one understands. Of course we are going to break through, but first we are going to check our surroundings. Investigative Gu masters, you need to work hard." Being pointed out by Fang Yuan and reprimanded, Chen Shuangjin's expression turned ugly and a fire burned in his heart. However, he still vividly remembered that time when Fang Yuan killed O clan father and son, so he could only suppress his anger. Many became dissatisfied with Fang Yuan's aggressiveness, but at the same time, in this situation, such aggressiveness instead gave them a sense of indescribable security. Soon, a group was organized to break through the siege under Fang Yuan's manipulation. "Break through that direction," Fang Yuan said solemnly as he pointed toward southeast direction. "Yes, Lord He Tu." "Remember, scouting is the priority, protect yourselves and retreat if you can't continue." Fang Yuan smiled and patted the group leader's shoulder. The group leader's heart immediately relaxed and Fang Yuan's image in his mind was no longer as repulsive as before. The zombie horde reached the final defensive line and battles issued everywhere. Breaking the siege group charged forward 300 steps before they were forced to retreat. Too terrifying, I discovered at least hundreds of zombies in the darkness at that side. The investigative Gu master's heart was still fearful as he made the report. Everyone turned slightly pale at these words. "No problem, take a rest. Second group, break through that direction," Fang Yuan commanded. This group charged through 400 to 500 steps before they had to retreat. "There are too many zombies." The investigative Gu master was pale. Fang Yuan let them rest, and said to the newly formed third group, "Go in that direction." "But that side is a valley." The group leader was somewhat puzzled. Slap. Fang Yuan slapped the man, "If I say go, then go. Don't give me nonsense." The group leader was stunned by the slap, but he didn't dare to meet Fang Yuan's angry gaze, so he turned around and led his group to the direction Fang Yuan pointed. Fang Yuan had organized 3 breaking the siege groups, sending them out to probe the situation and finally rule out the possible areas. The only place remaining is that high slope now. If I am not wrong, Ding Hao is definitely hiding there. Fang Yuan sneered inwardly and continued to arrange breaking the siege groups. These people are really not giving up. Ding Hao's brows furrowed but soon relaxed. You guys might have been able to break through if it was an ordinary zombie horde, but too bad for you, this zombie horde is being controlled by me." He mobilized the zombies in the darkness to constantly replenish any gaps. At the same time, he deployed massive forces towards several areas. Several rounds later, the casualties in breaking the siege groups increased to a disastrous amount. "This is enough. Breaking through can't succeed, we can't make any more sacrifices in vain. Sigh, looks like we can only defend our positions. Everyone persevere, endure till the sun rises, these zombies would be weak as paper then. Stop your nonsense, success is in sight. I will personally lead this time. Bai Yun, you stand guard here." Fang Yuan cursed and aggressively insisted on breaking through. Because of his aggressiveness, Gu masters could only form another group. 8 Gu masters charged out with Fang Yuan in the lead. With enormous strength combined with snow silver primeval essence and canopy Gu, he was able to easily force his way through the encirclement. Damn, that side is somewhat thin. Ding Hao also couldn't prevent Fang Yuan from breaking through. He hadn't thought Fang Yuan would choose this side to break through. This side was a dead end and he had continuously mobilized the zombies to other sides to fill up the gaps caused by the previous breakthrough attempts, causing the zombies in this side to be the least in numbers. They really succeeded. They broke through. The people in the camp were looking at this scene with wide eyes. Although in the process, 5 Gu masters died, Fang Yuan and the 2 other Gu masters successfully broke through. "We are saved, quick, let's break through that side." Everyone was joyous in the camp. Don't even think about succeeding. Ding Hao gritted his teeth and immediately mobilized zombies to fill the gap. The camp was still in the process of organizing while white-hair zombies were already covering the area Fang Yuan broke through. There were also 5 black-hair zombies pouncing upon Fang Yuan's group. The 2 Gu masters were shell-shocked. "Follow me." Fang Yuan shouted and charged towards the direction where Ding Hao was hiding. The 2 Gu masters couldn't think properly because of their fear and subconsciously followed Fang Yuan. "Humph, choosing to run towards me, ha ha ha, it seems even heaven wants you dead." Ding Hao's lips curled up as he looked proudly towards 2 zombies beside him. These 2 zombies were huge, with green hair covering their body. They were green hair zombies which was stronger than black hair zombies and could show a power equivalent to that of 1,000 Beast King during night. Ding Hao was only able to raise these 2 during his many years in the mountain. "Go!" he willed and these 2 green hair zombies immediately charged out. 80 steps later, they met Fang Yuan's group. Fang Yuan met one head-on. Even though he had strength of 2 boars and a crocodile, they were evenly matched and both were sent back several steps from the collision. The 2 remaining Gu masters battled the other green hair zombie, but they were being pressured and the situation already looked dangerous. "Let me help." Fang Yuan activated jumping grass and leapt towards the battle. The 2 Gu masters were exulted and were about to express their thanks, but without warning, 2 spiral bone spears shot towards them. PSH. 2 piercing sounds determined the 2 Gu masters' deaths. Ding Hao had been observing the battle and seeing this unexpected change raised a huge doubt in his mind. This distraction caused the 2 green hair zombies to slow down. The next words Fang Yuan spoke caused even more shock to Ding Hao. Only to hear him shout, "Ding Hao, get out here." Chapter 256, "So you are eldest senior brother." Ding Hao started to get dizzy as if a flashbang went off in his head. Who is this guy? He discovered me and even knows my name. Impossible, I have been so careful all these years, never giving myself away. How could he discover me? Waves rose in Ding Hao's heart and his thoughts became a whirlpool. The 2 green hair zombies along with the black hair zombies and white hair zombies around the camp became still. Everyone in the camp were stunned by this unexpected scene. However, Ding Hao immediately came to his senses and reacted. The battle in the camp resumed. Fang Yuan knew he had already half succeeded upon seeing these 2 green hair zombies remaining still. He shouted, "Ding Hao, you will regret if you don't come out." Ding Hao was hiding within some bushes. He gritted his teeth and asked while controlling the green hair zombies to surround Fang Yuan, "Who are you? How do you know my name?" Fang Yuan snorted, "Of course it was my master second zombie king who told me." Ah! Ding Hao could not stop but let out a cry of surprise. "Master" and "second zombie king," these words were like a boulder descending and creating a huge wave in his heart. He stood up and walked out of the bushes, his 2 eyes staring tightly at Fang Yuan with shock and doubt. "Who on earth are you?" Ding Hao anxiously asked. Fang Yuan snorted and said in an overbearing tone, "Are you deaf? Didn't you hear me? I am the second zombie king's eldest disciple. Hey Tuesday Ding Hao, I will count to 3, if you don't call back these two green hair zombies by then, hee hee. You are eldest senior brother? Wait a second, how did Lord Benefactor know my name? Ding Hao held suspicions towards this entire issue, but regardless, he still called back the two green hair zombies to his side. Fang Yuan's expression turned stiff as he scolded, "Who is your eldest senior brother? Master has yet to take you in as his disciple, how dare you pose off as one?" Ding Hao had no way to retort back. Fang Yuan tone softened, "Don't you talk to the stone slab all day, how could master not know your name?" Ah! Ding Hao uttered a cry of surprise. All these years, he had lived alone with only the zombies as his companions. When he felt depressed and painful, he would go to the final cave and pour out his heart to the stone slab. He had never expected Fang Yuan to expose his secrets with one remark. I thought, that was an ordinary stone slab." Ding Hao stammered. "Humph, what level are you at? Of course you cannot understand the profoundness of the stone slab. Master has vast powers, how would you be able to see through it?" Fang Yuan disdainfully sneered. In actual fact, even if a rank 9 Gu master were to see the stone slab, they wouldn't be able to see the profoundness of it. That was just a common stone slab. However, in Fang Yuan's previous life, Ding Hao himself had personally narrated it in his recollection of his struggles in life after he made a name for himself. Ding Hao licked his dry lips, he was almost fully convinced but he still had some doubts. He gave a deep bow towards Fang Yuan and cupped his hands, "Lord He too, since you are master's disciple, then please show me our unique characteristic, the zombie heart Gu." Zombie heart Gu was a Gu specific to the zombie king's lineage. It resembled a heart, had 7 holes and was stiff as stone. It was a rank 3 Gu, was cold to the touch and seemed to be made of bronze. Zombie heart Gu could produce rank 2 running corpse Gu. It was similar to charred thunder potato mother Gu which could produce charred thunder potato Gu. Rank 2 running corpse Gu was also a consumable Gu and was used on corpses to form zombies. However, it had an advantage over charred thunder potato Gu, the zombies it created could grow up and advance a stage. For instance, white hair zombies could become black hair zombies could become green hair zombies and so on. Fang Yuan possessed charred thunder potato mother Gu, but he had no zombie heart Gu. However, he was not in the least nervous towards Ding Hao's request. He opened his mouth and boldly scolded, "Cut your crap, I am on a secret mission assigned by Master, I had to disguise my identity to join the caravan, how could I carry zombie heart Gu with me? Zombie heart Gu feeds upon zombies, how could I get zombies in full view of everyone?" This. Ding Hao was stumped. "What this, do you think I can't kill you?" Fang Yuan timely revealed his snow-silver primeval essence. Rank 3 peak stage cultivation was clearly revealed, Ding Hao's pupils shrunk, he was only at rank 3 middle stage. Fang Yuan immediately followed, "Although our lineage can control zombies and form an army of them, controlling zombies requires our concentration. If our soul is not strong, our mind will be weak, then our control over the zombies' quantity and quality will only be ordinary. Although you have 2 green hair zombies, there will definitely be gaps when you defend yourself while controlling them, it will be very easy for me to kill you." Ding Hao licked his dry lips and retreated a step back with some fear. However, Fang Yuan immediately changed the topic. "Before I left, Master told me about you and wanted me to check if you had the qualifications to enter his tutelage. To think you actually approached me with killing intent when I have not even started looking for you, humph. This, eldest senior brother, it wasn't intentional." Ding Hao started panicking when he heard Fang Yuan was someone sent by second zombie king to inspect him. "Who is your eldest senior brother? You have yet to receive master's approval." "Humph, you are still doubtful now." Fang Yuan raised his brows. Ding Hao quickly cupped his hands and said in a self-mocking tone, "Eldest senior brother, since you're clear on zombie heart goose food and our weakness, no matter how stupid I am, I recognize eldest senior brother's identity." Fang Yuan kept a poker face and did not speak, only looking at the two green hair zombies. Ding Hao was stunned for a while before immediately realizing. With a shift of his mind, he sent the two green hair zombies away. Then he walked before Fang Yuan, bowed and said submissively, "Please forgive me, eldest senior brother, I wanted to kill these people to collect enough zombies. I really hadn't expected eldest senior brother to be here. If I had known, I would have come down the mountain and welcomed you. I really yearn and am determined to follow master, heaven can testify my loyalty." Fang Yuan relaxed his tone, "Humph, master knows of your loyalty. Before I departed, master spoke of it and praised your loyalty when he asked me to inspect you on my journey. Even if you had not reached the standard, as long as there isn't a huge gap, it's no problem." So it was like that. Ding Hao was overjoyed. However, Fang Yuan's expression turned heavy and his tone cold. "You had the cheek to attack the caravan, wrecking my secret mission. Do you know how much effort I and your second senior sister had to waste to infiltrate this caravan? Eldest senior brother, it really was not intentional." Ding Hao was indignant, his excitement just before sank through the floor due to Fang Yuan's words, "Second senior sister is also in the caravan. I will call back the zombie horde." "What?" Fang Yuan was furious as he knocked his fingers on Ding Hao's head. "Is your brain made of glue? Can't you think? You moron, wouldn't they start doubting me if the zombies retreated for no rhyme or reason? Idiot." Ding Hao rubbed his aching head before quickly nodding and apologizing. Yes, eldest senior brother is right. Then eldest senior brother, I will do whatever you say." Fang Yuan pointed at Ding Hao, "You have already made a serious mistake, but considering it was not intentional, it can't be helped. Next, do as I say to make up for your mistakes." Ding Hao was like a grandson being admonished as he kept on nodding at Fang Yuan. However, Fang Yuan didn't mention his demand immediately and instead asked, "Tell me the truth, how many white hair, black hair and green hair zombies do you have? Also any blue hair zombies?" Ding Hao showed an ashamed expression. "I am stupid, I have been living at Mubei Mountain for close to 10 years but have yet to raise a single blue hair zombie. As for green hair zombies, I only have 3 of them. I left one inside the cave to stand guard and have brought the other 2 with me. I have over 120 black hair zombies and close to 4,000 white hair zombies." Fang Yuan had expected him to not have any blue hair zombies and was able to be at ease after confirming it. He intentionally made a sound of surprise and spoke nonsense. "You are not that far from the target. Having 3 green hair zombies is pretty good, and as for blue hair zombies, even I have only 2 of them." He was clear of Second Zombie King's requirement to take in disciples. Second Zombie King had not just left behind one inheritance, he had taken in 7 to 8 disciples in Fang Yuan's previous life. Ding Hao was only one of them. Later on, Second Zombie King joined Tian Mountain and was besieged by the righteous path. The disciples of Second Zombie King commanded great zombie armies and showed off their talents, causing the righteous path allied army to retreat at one point. As Ding Hao listened to Fang Yuan, his heart was cleared of doubt. He looked at Fang Yuan with admiration. "Eldest senior brother, you are amazing, you have 2 blue hair zombies." This junior brother is full of admiration. Fang Yuan patted Ding Hao's shoulder and showed an expression of feeling proud inwardly but intentionally suppressing it. "To raise a blue hair zombie, if you say it is difficult, it is difficult, if you say it is easy, it is easy. I will explain it to you. You need to first find a rank 4 Gu master's corpse, then the rest is up to your luck. It depends on whether this corpse had used a Gu worm in his life to raise his strength. If he did, it will be at least a green hair. If you use fresh blood to nurture it for a year or two, it will evolve into a blue hair. I see. Ding Hao knew Fang Yuan spoke the truth after he combined it to his own experiences. He gratefully said, "Thank you, eldest senior brother, for your pointers." Fang Yuan slightly nodded his head and carefully checked Ding Hao's expression, knowing the latter had complete trust in him now. Ding Hao had originally been a servant and then secretly cultivated for close to 10 years on Mubei Mountain. His honest character made him easy to deceive. In fact, even those who were very scheming would be moved by Fang Yuan's words and would at least believe most of it. No use in crying over spilled milk. Act with me, and if your performance is good, I will give you a pass from my side. Fang Yuan said. Ding Hao's eyes brightened and immediately replied, "Please speak, elder senior brother, I will definitely do my best to accomplish it." Fang Yuan gave detailed instructions before charging back to the camp. With Ding Hao's secret cooperation, Fang Yuan returned beside Xianxia without any mishaps. Seeing an expert like Fang Yuan returning to their sides, everyone in the caravan was surprised, happy and in awe. In their perspective, Fang Yuan could have already escaped, but he fought his way back to them. "I am burdening you, benefactor." Xianxia felt ashamed and guilty. "No matter. You are only one of the reasons, besides, Bai Yun is also here." Fang Yuan shook his hand and intentionally said this, making Xianxia and Xiao Dai feel even more moved. Bai Ningbing glanced at Fang Yuan with doubt. Fang Yuan vaguely winked at her. She immediately realized he was up to no good. Chapter 257, A Spear from Behind. The zombie horde's attacks gradually slowed down and the situation came to a standstill. Time passed minutes by minutes. Occasionally, some Gu masters heroically sacrificed themselves or zombies fell down. 2 hours later, Ding Hao followed Fang Yuan's instruction and steeply increased the attacks of the zombies, breaking the defensive line that was hanging by a thread. There were only 30 or so people in the caravan now. They had to break through. They were all of one mind on this, as every one of them could see that there was a chance at survival if they broke through, and if they insisted on defending their positions, their deaths were certain. To break through would also be a desperate struggle. Layers upon layers of white-hair zombies had encircled them, and there were also black-hair zombies obstructing them. "Give up on these mortals, they will only slow down our speed," Jia Long shouted. Xianxia and Xiao Dai became pale. "Don't worry, I am here." Fang Yuan defended them. All the remaining mortals were ruthlessly abandoned, only the 2 of them remained. Jia Long and other Gu masters didn't dare to say anything since they had to rely on Fang and Bai's strength. They were progressing shakily through the siege, and just when it looked like they were about to break out, 2 green-hair zombies appeared. "We will go back." Fang Yuan pulled Xianxia and Xiao Dai, and said in a soft voice. Bai Ningbing stopped. Weren't they entering into the encirclement again by going back? However, Fang Yuan was already retreating towards the back with Xianxia and Xiao Dai. Bai Ningbing gritted her teeth as she looked at the empty field in front of her, but she still turned around and followed Fang Yuan. The other Gu masters fell into a chaotic battle against the 2 green-hair zombies. Green-hair zombies were as strong as Thousand Beast King, and though there were many rank 3 Gu masters, they were already exhausted. As their battle with the green-hair zombies continued, the surrounding black and white-hair zombies closed in on them. This instead caused the pressure on Fang and Bai to decrease greatly. Fang Yuan retreated dozens of steps before he started breaking through again. Numerous white-hair zombies were blocking their way, but Fang Yuan just plunged and dashed. The power he displayed was extremely high. White-hair zombies died everywhere he passed. Bai Ningbing was dumbstruck. Was this Fang Yuan's true strength? These white-hair zombies are too weak. She immediately found something amiss when she attacked. The white-hair zombies that were blocking them were many times weaker than before. They had dazed expressions and didn't even attack properly, they were more like punching targets. Did Fang Yuan discover this weakness and is using it now? Strange, these white-hair zombies look the same, how in the world did he discover these weakness? Bai Ningbing was bothered and bewildered. Fang Yuan, however, was hurling curses inwardly right now. Before departing, he had reminded Ding Hao to make the zombies appear strong although actually weak, and make it realistic. So what horrible performance is this? Ding Hao was sweating profusely. He had never exerted so much concentration to control the zombie army. He was extremely nervous, feeling that he had destroyed eldest senior brother's secret mission. Guilt and worry made him cooperate with Fang Yuan's act with all his efforts. It was okay when he didn't know Fang Yuan's identity, but now that he knew Fang Yuan was his eldest senior brother, how could he dare to truly attack him? Amazing! Xiao Dai exclaimed in surprise. Xianxia's beautiful eyes also brightened. Fang Yuan was moving unhindered, like an unmatched general maneuvering on the battlefield, giving off a feeling of invincibility. Who does not love heroes? Which girl did not dream of a prince riding a white horse, a hero saving the beauty? Xiao Dai did, and so did Xianxia. Right now, as the master and servant looked at Fang Yuan's wide back, there were ripples in their hearts. Fang Yuan was ugly, but at this moment, this ugliness gave off a beautiful radiance to them. His bravery and spirit gave an indescribable sense of security to these two girls who were in this dangerous situation. They could not help but want to rely and depend on him. Such terrible acting, this coward. Fang Yuan really wanted to kick Ding Hao to death. His thoughts moved rapidly and he could make out Ding Hao's mental state. It seems I have no choice. Fang Yuan narrowed his eyes, then he resolutely deactivated Canopy Gu and charged towards an attacking white-hair zombie. His flesh was torn open, Fang Yuan got injured. Good, this is how it should be. Fang Yuan happily thought. This was the best chance to win Xianxia's trust, how could he let it go in vain? Damn it! Bai Ningbing cursed and immediately rushed towards Fang Yuan, abandoning Xianxia. Fang Yuan had the Yang Gu on him, that was the key to her reverting back to a man and it could absolutely not be lost. Oh my heavens! Ding Hao's whole body shook when he saw Fang Yuan being injured. He was blaming himself, the worry and panic was clear on his face as he mumbled, it wasn't intentional, it really wasn't intentional, eldest senior brother. Ah! Xianxia and Xiao Dai both cried out. Their hearts ached seeing Fang Yuan injured. What are you doing? Go back and protect them. Fang Yuan shouted in a soft voice when Bai Ningbing approached him. Bai Ningbing's blue pupils widened, she immediately realized Fang Yuan had intentionally received the attack, this bastard. Don't go overboard. Bai Ningbing's eyes twitched, she said these words and left. With Ding Hao's control, the white-hair zombies made threatening gestures, but it was all show and little action. Bai Ningbing kicked a white-hair zombie flying and hurried back towards Xianxia. How is He Tu? Xianxia grabbed Bai Ningbing's arm and asked. He is okay. Bai Ningbing's lips twitched. Why are you not switching with him? He is injured. The gentle Xianxia's words carried a rarely seen grievance. Bai Ningbing's lips twitched, she couldn't tell that Fang Yuan intentionally received the attack, right? So, she casually made up a reason, he has always been like this, he will never stop when he starts an assault, unless he falls. Xianxia's beautiful eyes flickered and slightly reddened. Xiao Dai covered her mouth, her eyes were already moist. There were ripples in the master and servants' hearts again as they looked at Fang Yuan. What kind of man was this? In this horde of zombies, he moved around without fear, constantly pressing forward. No doubt he was a hero, a sorrowful hero. Seeing Fang Yuan injured, Ding Hao was shaking with fear and didn't dare to obstruct the path. Fang Yuan charged ahead for some distance and led Xianxia and the group out of the zombie encirclement. That's it. He smacked his lips with dissatisfaction and grudgingly looked at the only injury on his body. It was such a good opportunity to show off, but he only received a single injury. The act was really lacking. Despite only suffering a single injury, it already made Xianxia and Xiao Dai extremely worried. Hey Tu, are you okay? You are injured, the wound is so deep, all because of me. Xianxia's eyes were becoming moist with tears. So much black blood is flowing out, Lord Hey Tu, you have been poisoned. Xiao Dai said with deep concern. Fang Yuan puffed out his chest and said in a deep, fearless voice, this is just a small injury, the corpse poison is somewhat troublesome but I can detoxify it with clearing heat goo. You don't no need to worry. Ha ha ha. He started laughing. The camp was in ruins, flames blazed everywhere. The remaining people in the caravan had set the camp aflame before leaving, it was to burn their bridges and also to have a source of lighting. Fang Yuan and the group charged out of the zombie encirclement and reached the outer perimeter of the light from the fire. The light shone on Fang Yuan's face, chest and his injury. He laughed, his appearance was ugly but it gave a different kind of heroic charm to the two girls. They had dreamt of dreams of hero saving the beauty, dreamt of handsome and unrestrained hero. Truthfully, the image of Fang Yuan and their image of heroes were as different as day and night. However, strangely, the two girls felt this was the true hero. He was unrestrained, fearless and had unmatched heroic spirit. Many years later, Xianxia would ask herself how Fang Yuan walked deep into her heart. Every time, she would involuntarily think of this night. Layers upon layers of zombies to his back, blazing flames shining upon his face, the burned scars on his face, his smile revealing his white teeth. His deep black pupils looked at herself, the normally cold and indifferent eyes, under the orange flames, revealed a hint of warmth. Save us! The caravan group were deeply encircled by the zombie horde and started shouting for help when they saw the situation in Fang Yuan's side. Fang Yuan's gaze flashed but he didn't speak. Xianxia had already grabbed his arm. You are injured, don't go, let's leave. Do you remember what you said to me? Do only what you are able to. A peace of mind as long as one does what he can. Fang Yuan laughed and patted Xianxia's hand. Don't worry, I am not going, there is no kindness or hatred between them and me. Let's go. However, it wasn't so appropriate to leave like this. What if someone knew he killed Zhangzhu and under desperation, shouted it, what would Xianxia think then? In truth, his worries were unnecessary. Chen Xian and Chen Shuangjin who knew about the matter had already died in battle. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed with a bright light as he shouted loudly, continue to persevere, wait till I bring them to a safe place, then I will come help you. Brother He Tu is righteous. We hope Brother He Tu returns quickly. Brother He Tu, if you save me, I will give you a huge amount of money. The caravan people shouted one after another. Fang Yuan laughed bitterly and looked at the master and servant's puzzled gaze. I am giving them some hope so that they might create a miracle. Sigh, I can only do this much. Fang Yuan's image immediately rose to a much greater height in the two girls' hearts. Fang Yuan and the group ran along the mountain passage. Under the moonlight, the mountain passage looked like it was covered with snow. As per their previous discussion, Ding Hao arranged a batch of zombies around here to block the path. The four rushed to the arranged area. Fang Yuan signaled by Ning Bing with his eyes, then stood at the spot. You guys leave first, I will stop these zombies and hurry back to you. The master and servant steps immediately slowed down, but under by Ning Bing's persuasion, they continued to run along the path and soon left Fang Yuan's sight. Fang Yuan laughed. He acted as if he was in a struggle with the zombies, and finding an opportune timing, he activated jumping grass and jumped over the zombies, arriving beside Ding Hao. The battle with the caravan was still ongoing. There were only 3 remaining in the caravan side, but what amazed Fang Yuan was a green-hair zombie had actually perished. After asking Ding Hao, he realized a Gu master had used a rare rank 3 detonation Gu. Eldest senior brother. Ding Hao immediately bowed. His face was pale and his forehead filled with sweat. He had never tried splitting his thoughts to control the zombies with such intensity. The main thing was he had to act according to Fang Yuan's directions, making him more exhausted. Previously he would just command the zombies to attack or retreat. How could he have commanded them to only make threatening gestures and attack empty air? And he still had to control these zombies to keep still when attacked by Fang Yuan. Eldest senior brother, how is your injury? It really wasn't intentional. I have a healing Gu here. Ding Hao started to explain hurriedly. Fang Yuan patted his shoulder. You are good, you have put in a lot of effort. No need to worry about my injury, I suffered it intentionally. Now, you just have to use more strength and eradicate these people. Yes. Ding Hao immediately let out a breath of relief. With his spirits raised, he started maneuvering countless zombies forward. The surviving 3 knew their deaths were certain. One closed his eyes and sighed, another cried out Fang Yuan's name, and another was crying loudly. Under the threat of death, their natural instincts were fully revealed. The zombie horde submerged the 3. Fang Yuan satisfiedly nodded. Was there anyone who escaped? No, absolutely none. I did what eldest senior brother instructed and arranged a large amount of zombies in the perimeter. Ding Hao quickly answered. Good, well done. Clean up the battlefield, remember to not leave behind any tracks. Yes, eldest senior brother. Ding Hao had never exposed himself when he attacked the caravans, which showed he had certain level of accomplishment in clearing the tracks. He cleaned up the battlefield with ease and disguised the traces as ordinary zombie horde attacking the caravan. Fang Yuan secretly nodded his head in approval. However, although he was older than Fang Yuan, his experience couldn't compare to the veteran Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan pointed out some areas that were overlooked, causing Ding Hao to admire him. For instance, the primeval stones couldn't be entirely taken, they had to leave some behind, after all the zombies wouldn't collect them. Another point would be not all the corpses should be changed to zombies. The corpse poison could be deep or shallow and they didn't have 100% chance to turn corpses into zombies. Eldest senior brother, please take these primeval stones. About 5 minutes later, Ding Hao sensibly offered the primeval stones he collected. Fang Yuan glanced at it, there were approximately 13,000 primeval stones. He didn't hesitate to take it and put them in Tusita flour. How are your gains? Fang Yuan patted Ding Hao's shoulder and warmly asked. Ding Hao's pale face let out an excited light. The gains are huge this time. I obtained 5 complete bodies and they are all rank 3 Gu masters. There are also dozen Gu master corpses, they are all strength Gu masters. I will get at least black hair zombies once they are turned into zombies. Haha, you have obtained a good harvest. Raise these black hair zombies properly and you will definitely have new green hair zombies. Ding Hao repeatedly nodded his head, his face filled with admiration. This is the first time I have devoured a whole caravan. It is all thanks to eldest senior brother for attracting beast groups along the way and constantly reducing their forces. All these gains I made is because of eldest senior brother. You are not too shabby either, your commanding ability is quite good. But looking at your face, you have used your brain too much, your mind is haggard and your soul is wounded. You need to recuperate for a while. Taking good care of our soul is very important to our lineage. If our soul is not strong, our mind will be weak and commanding the zombies will be more difficult. Fang Yuan smiled, speaking gently. Thank you, eldest senior brother, for your concern. Ding Hao had lived alone for close to 10 years, this was the first time someone showed concern for him, so he couldn't help being moved. This emotional spike immediately caused him to have an intense dizziness, his body shook, and if not for Fang Yuan supporting him, he might have fallen headfirst into the ground. I am ashamed. My cultivation is still not enough, I am feeling dizzy and my mind is not working properly. Ding Hao was able to barely stand up. There is no need to worry, return to the cave and rest properly. Although you will still feel headaches tomorrow, your mind will have mostly recovered and can smoothly command these zombies. Fang Yuan smiled. Yes. I have experienced this before when I tried to control too many zombies, I almost fainted on the spot, ha ha ha. Ding Hao laughed. Okay. I need to leave now, I give you my approval. Rest properly and wait for me to come back, I will bring you to pay respects to Master. Right, where is your cave? It is halfway up the mountain beside a dark pond. It is easy to find, that dark pond is very unique, it is shaped like a pentagram. Ding Hao was very happy and immediately answered, eldest senior brother, you really won't come visit my cave with me? I can't, time is pressing, I need to hand over the secret mission to Master. Not good, someone actually feigned death, there is still someone who escaped. Where? Ding Hao's mind shook and immediately turned around to look. Pew! Next instant, a bone spear pierced his skull. Plop! Ding Hao collapsed on the ground, a thick spiral bone spear pierced through his skull, blood and brains slowly flowed out the spiral hole. His eyes were wide open, a look of utter disbelief. The smile on Fang Yuan's face disappeared, changing into an indifferent expression. He slowly bent down and grabbed Ding Hao's leg, dragging him towards the ruined camp. The flames were still blazing. The zombies, having lost their master, started hopping aimlessly. The corpses on the ground drew their attention, enticing them. They hopped towards the corpses, biting and tearing them. Fang Yuan dragged Ding Hao's corpse past the corpses strewn battlefield, sounds of zombies eating the corpses kept on reverberating in his ears. He threw Ding Hao towards the blazing fire and quietly looked on as the corpse slowly changed to ash. The goo worms on the corpse also mournfully wailed before gradually burning to death. Once Xianxia was recognized by Shang clan leader, she would definitely be strictly investigated by the Shang clan. This battle was sure to be of utmost importance. If Ding Hao was captured by them and interrogated, Fang Yuan could be in danger. Despite Ding Hao being an honest person, easy to deceive and a very good chess piece, his worth could never match with Xianxia. And if there were risks, it was better to abandon them. This including giving up the goo worms on his body. As long as Fang Yuan carried them on him, second zombie king could find him. Moreover, it was not convenient for Fang Yuan to feed zombie heart goo and it might only leave behind traces which could be discovered in Shang clan's investigation. As for these zombies, they had turned back to being common zombie horde after losing their master. Once they finished eating these corpses, a part of them would stay here and another part would leave, wandering about Mu Bei Mountain in searching for food. Once they were done with this, the whole scene would become even more natural. Only after Ding Hao's corpse was burned to ashes did Fang Yuan slowly leave. The zombies were eating the corpses, these mindless things were of no threat now. Chapter 258, Separation as Planned. The crescent moon hangs high in the night sky, as moonlight flowed down like water. Xianxia stood on a boulder and gazed far away, her face filled with worry. Why has brother He Tu still not returned? Did something happen? Xiao Dai added. How could anything happen to him? Don't worry. Bai Ningbing leaned on a withered tree, wondering what Fang Yuan was up to again. Minutes and minutes passed, as Xianxia's brows furrowed while her worry kept increasing. Bai Ningbing also started feeling something amiss. Almost 8 minutes had passed. Did something really happen to Fang Yuan? She didn't care about Fang Yuan's death. What she cared about was the Yanggu on Fang Yuan. Anxiety grew in her heart. Half of this was because of Fang Yuan's disappearance, the other half was because of her own helplessness. As Fang Yuan's cultivation continued to advance, she found it incredibly difficult to deal with him and get the Yanggu. This meant that if Fang Yuan reneged on his promise, she had no way to deal with him. Bai Ningbing knew what kind of personality Fang Yuan had after traveling with him for so long. Fang Yuan's cultivation was nearing rank 3, the promised time was coming and her heart was becoming increasingly fretful. The three discussed, and just when they decided to return to assist Fang Yuan, he appeared in their sights on the mountain passage. Xianxia let out a breath of relief, but her heart pounded again when Fang Yuan walked in front of them. Brother He Tu, you are injured again. Fang Yuan had intentionally made some more injuries on his body. He drew in a breath of cold air. When you guys had just left, a green-hair zombie appeared. Fortunately, I ran quickly. We should leave immediately, it might still be chasing me. The three naturally didn't dare to stay any longer when they heard that and hastened their journey that very night. So far, Fang Yuan's objectives were achieved and he behaved appropriately along the way. After crossing Mu Bei Mountain, they arrived at Shuangjiang Mountain. This mountain had two peaks separated by a deep ravine. The peaks were similar to each other and gave off a majestic aura. The four no longer had the caravan's protection now, so it seemed to take a lot more effort when they moved through the mountain. Fortunately, after crossing Shuangjiang Mountain, it was Shuelei Mountain. Shuelei Mountain had Zhao clan and could not be considered to be a wild area since there were human inhabitants on it. The most dangerous part of the trade route was already over, so the danger had greatly decreased. Fang and Bai were wanted by Bai clan, so they didn't go to Zhao clan. The four moved on relentlessly. After passing through Shuelei Mountain, they continued to cross Qianku Mountain, Juren Mountain, Luzhao Mountain, crossing over 6 great mountains. During this time, Fang Yuan's cultivation advanced from rank 2 middle stage to peak stage. On the whole journey, they only stopped by some remote hamlets to replenish their supplies. As they neared Shangliang Mountain, the mountain path became wider and there were more people moving through the path. And finally, on this day, Shangliang Mountain finally appeared in their sights. Puff, that is Shangliang Mountain. Xianxia put her hand on her forehead to shield her from the sunlight and looked at the horizon before letting out a breath of turbid air. Missy, we are almost there. Xiao Dai laughed happily, and excitedly shook Xianxia's arm. Bai Ningbing only looked and did not speak. We will go our separate ways when we arrive at Shangliang Mountain. Lady Zhang, I have paid your favor. Fang Yuan suddenly said. What? Xiao Dai gasped, not having expected Fang Yuan to say that. She stood on the spot at a loss. Xianxia's expression changed, her eyelashes slightly trembled as she looked at Fang Yuan. These days, while Fang Yuan remained silent, he had already become a pillar of support for her. Now that he is leaving, Xianxia immediately felt a sense of emptiness and loss. All things must come to an end. Fang Yuan heaved a long sigh. True. Xianxia pursed up her lips, her breathing was becoming heavy. After being in contact with Fang Yuan all the time these days, she knew his character. He was a someone acts upon his decisions, a resolute man. Let's go, it isn't quite safe yet, we will part our ways when we reach the city gate. Fang Yuan started walking in front. The atmosphere of the group had decreased to a freezing point, even the incessantly chattering Xiao Dai was silent. The closer they were to Shang Clan City, the nearer their parting. Shang Clan City unconsciously slowed down Shang Xinc's steps. Shang Clan City was her destination for this trip and she should have been happy as she neared her target, but right now, she didn't want to reach Shang Clan City. However, the path was after all limited. They eventually arrived at the foot of Shangliang Mountain. Shang Clan City's huge gate was right in front of their eyes. It was time to part ways. Fang Yuan gazed deeply at Shang Xinci and nodded his head, only saying 2 words. Take care. It was simply 2 words, but it made Shang Xinc's beautiful body tremble. Fang Yuan turned around and left. Wait. Shang Xinci summoned her courage and suddenly spoke. It was a sea of buzz and commotions around the city gate with people moving to and fro. Shang Xinc's beautiful pupils gazed at Fang Yuan as the crowds moved rapidly around them. We will meet again someday. Benefactor, you might have repaid my favor in your heart, but you have saved me over and over again. This favor you have given to me is as deep as the sea and as heavy as the mountain. Benefactor, you said a drop received in need will be repaid with whole river. I will definitely repay you. The young girl's tone was firm and revealed her resolute heart. Fang Yuan smiled towards her, then turned around and left, gradually disappearing within the crowd. Shang Xinci stood on the spot for a long while. Miss, they are really heartless, leaving just like that. Xiao Dai walked over and held her hand. They do not want to implicate us, their demonic path identity cannot be exposed even on Shangliang Mountain. Shang Xinc's nature was kind, always thinking of people positively. Oh, it was like that. Xiao Dai realized. They might be demonic Gu masters but they are good people. I have decided, I will make it big on Shang Clan City. There is definitely a place for my talent. I might just be a mortal who can't cultivate, but I can hire Gu masters to work for me. I will definitely repay their favor in future. Yes. I believe in you, Missy. Strange, you have protected Shang Xinci all the way. Why are you intentionally parting ways now that we reached Shangliang Mountain? I have to remind you that there is a huge flow of people in Shang Clan City and you don't have an investigative Gu. If you are just playing hard to get, make sure you don't lose track of her. If not, you will just be shooting yourself in the foot. It would really be a great joke. Bai Ningbing coldly reminded Fang Yuan from the side. Fang Yuan ignored her. His gaze followed Shang Xinci and Xiao Dai till they walked through the city gate and only then did he retrieve his gaze. As per his previous life's memories, Shang Clan leader should detect his bloodline in Shang Xinci once she entered Shang Clan City. However, for confirmation, the tyrannical Shang Clan leader would round up all the people of the caravan, which Shang Xinci joined at that time, and keep them in house arrest as he interrogated and investigated them. When the truth was cleared up and Shang Xinc's identity was confirmed, Shang Clan leader generously compensated all the caravan members by twice the amount of their goods. Shang Xinci directly jumped from being a mortal girl to being Shang Clan leader's beloved daughter. This event caused a sensation and became a popular conversation topic. This is why Fang Yuan needed to part ways with Shang Xinci. Fang Yuan had many Gu in his aperture which could never be exposed to others, especially the spring-autumn cicada. If he was investigated and his aperture searched, it would become a huge trouble. If it was an ordinary clan, Fang Yuan would have no worries because the clan leaders who usually had the highest cultivation would only be at rank 4 stage in such clans. However, Shang clan leader had rank 5 cultivation, and that wasn't even the highest cultivation here. There were supreme elders in the Shang clan possessing rank 6 cultivation. If they were to search Fang Yuan's aperture, the spring-autumn cicada would be discovered even if it hid deep within. Saying his farewell had another advantage: he would appear to have no desire or need anything from Xianxia. This would deepen the impression of only repaying favor in her heart. Later, when he meets Xianxia, he would definitely obtain her trust. Actually, the quickest way to form an inseparable relation to Xianxia is through sexual relation. Fang Yuan could sense Xianxia had good feelings towards him. If he took her chastity, the future Shang clan leader would fall deeply in love with him. Fang Yuan might appear ugly, but the charisma he released already moved Xianxia's heart. He knew Xianxia would not refuse him if he wanted it. But this way absolutely could not be carried out. If he did it, he would become Shang clan's son-in-law and would be bound to the chariot called Shang clan. Then Fang Yuan would no longer be able to do things his own way, his every movement would be watched by others, his hands and feet bound, even his cultivation would have to be purposely suppressed. As his cultivation increased rapidly, it would expose bone-flesh unity Gu, which was sure to cause an upheaval and attract all kinds of attention. Fang Yuan understood how much bone-flesh unity Gu was worth, even Shang clan could not keep it for themselves. And if spring-autumn cicada was revealed on top of that, those reclusive rank 6 Gu masters, even rank 7 Gu masters would jump out one after another. After reaching rank 6, the Gu master would experience a qualitative change in their strength, each of them able to contend against the strength of a whole clan. Once he had sexual relations with Xianxia, after Xianxia confirmed his identity, even if she was Shang clan leader, they would all come looking for Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was moreover a demonic Gu master with unknown origins. It was unavoidable for him to be investigated and interrogated. If he escaped, he would have to face Shang clan's pursuit and arrest warrant. This was a completely different concept from Bai clan's arrest warrant. Bai clan was in dire straits and didn't have enough strength, but Shang clan was one of the overlords of southern border. Fang Yuan would only have one way out if that happened, that was to escape from the southern border. Shang Yanfei was sitting cross-legged in the air, his whole body bathing in flames. The flames were scarlet like blood and were burning silently in the dark void. As the leader of Shang clan, he is occupied with clan affairs every day and does not have much time to cultivate. Even so, with his domineering aptitude and comprehension, he was able to cultivate to rank 5 upper stage and was only a step away from peak stage. Today's cultivation was about to end. The scarlet flames slowly dispersed and shrunk, finally changing back to long crimson hair on Shang Yanfei's head. Without the illumination from fire, darkness spread, becoming the sole master of the area. Suddenly, Shang Yanfei opened his eyes, his pupils were dyed color of blood and his gaze shone like lightning as it pierced through the darkness. A new bloodline that originates from mine, how did this appear out of nowhere? Chapter 259, Reunion of Father and Daughter. Shang Yanfei's thoughts stirred and immediately disappeared from within the darkness. When he reappeared, he was already at the outer area of Shang clan city. All kinds of noise entered his ears. There were various stalls located on both sides of the street. The people in the surrounding only saw a flash of bloody flame, then a black-robed, crimson-haired handsome man appeared in their midst. Whoa, scared the soul out of me. Who is this man? He actually dares to use his Gu in Shang clan city. Many people cast bewildered gazes, only few recognized Shang Yanfei but they were not sure. Shang Yanfei ignored these gazes and followed the bloodline reaction, his sharp senses landed on Xianxia. Two girls stopped in front of a stall. "Missy, this hairpin is really beautiful." Xiao Dai picked up a jade hairpin from the stall and matched it with Xianxia's beautiful hair. Xianxia forced out a smile, her mood had been down since parting with Fang Yuan. Xiao Dai was instead lively, fascinated by the flourishing scene in the city. Suddenly, Xianxia felt something in her heart and turned around. Her gaze immediately landed on Xiang Yanfei. The black-robed, crimson-haired Xiang Yanfei was very conspicuous in the crowd, like a crane in a flock of chickens. However, what attracted Xianxia was not his appearance but rather a mysterious familial connection and calling from her bloodline. Without any word being said, the moment Xianxia saw Xiang Yanfei, she knew this middle-aged man's identity. He was her father. Father, to Xianxia, this word was mysterious and distant, containing sorrow and sadness. Since young, she had asked her mother countless times about her father, but her mother always remained silent. And now, she finally met her father. So this was the reason mother told me to go to Shang Clan City before her death. Realization dawned upon her and tears uncontrollably fell down her eyes. The moment Xiang Yanfei saw Xianxia, he connected it to her mother and realized her identity. Similar, they were really similar. This child's gentle appearance was no different from hers. Xiang Yanfei suddenly felt pain in his heart, he was vaguely able to see her again. In that distant afternoon when spring rain was drizzling down, when willow trees were carefreely swaying beside the lotus pool, under a shabby hut, Shang Clan's young master Xiang Yanfei met the young lady of Zhang Clan who was running from rain. A meeting of a scholar and beauty. It was love at first sight, they poured their hearts out to each other and pledged to be married. However, one could only be helpless in the affairs of the world. Power and beauty was just like fish and bear paw, who could have both? The young Xiang Yanfei was someone with blazing fire in his heart, this fire was the natural ambition of men towards power and influence. Ambition or love, duty or freedom, oppressing his enemies or his promise to the beauty, Xiang Yanfei chose the former in the end and abandoned the latter. He later defeated his brothers and sisters, ascended to the position of Shang clan leader and sat on the glorious throne. He became a rank 5 Gu master, married countless beauties and now had many sons and daughters. And because Zhang clan and Shang clan had been enemies for generations, he could no longer look for her. One cannot control everything in the world. Clan leader's identity became his symbol of success but also the shackles that binds him. The king's every movement could bring about upheavals and was closely watched by everyone. As the clan leader of Shang clan, how could he let his love affair affect the clan? All these years, he tried hard to convince himself and hide his guilt and worries deep within by using the reasons of righteousness and duty. He thought he had forgotten it all, but now when he saw Xianxia, those warm memories hidden deep within him instantly enveloped his soul like the sound of spring rain. Right now, waves were surging in his heart. The blood of kinship that is thicker than water had turned into a river, now, his guilt overflowed into this river and became a sea, instantly submerging him. He took a light step and disappeared, reappearing in front of Xianxia the next moment. Xiao Dai gasped, the surrounding people all looked astonished and shocked. But the two people involved did not sense anything. "You, what is your name?" Xiang Yanfei opened his mouth with great effort, his voice carried a magnetic quality and was filled with strong warmth. Xianxia did not reply. Tears streamed down from her beautiful eyes. She took a step back and tightly pursed her lips, she then firmly looked at Xiang Yanfei, her gaze carrying stubbornness. It was this man who hurt her mother's heart. It was this man who caused her to suffer discrimination and bullying since young. It was this man who enchanted her mother, making her think about him even at death. It was this man, and yet he is, my father. Her mood surged and raged, countless feelings mixed together to form a berserk whirlpool, threatening to swallow her mind. She fainted. Missy. Xiao Dai, who had been absorbed in Xianxia Fei's aura, regained her senses and screamed. However, Xianxia Fei was a step faster and held Xianxia on his hands. Who dares to openly violate the city rules and use Gu? Do you want to end up in prison? A group of city guards sensed the abnormal change and came over, swearing. Ah, Lord Clan Leader. Their expressions instantly changed the moment they saw Xianxia Fei, and all of them kneeled down. The whole street was in commotion. You are Shang clans. Xiao Dai stammered, and was speechless. Xianxia Fei grabbed Xiao Dai's arm, a blood-colored flame burst forth and the three disappeared. Line up in a queue, enter one by one. Everyone needs to pay 10 primeval stones as the toll to enter the city. Once you enter the city, you are not allowed to misuse your Gu. The violators will be sent to prison for at least 7 days. The guards at the city gate shouted loudly. There were many arrest warrants posted on the city walls. Some had already yellowed from age and was covered by other warrants, revealing only a corner of them, and some were completely new, posted carelessly on the walls. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing moved with the queue and slowly neared the city gate. Sure enough, they saw an arrest warrant for them from Bai clan. Bai clan. Fang Yuan inwardly snorted. "Two sirs, please stop." The gate guards approached Fang and Bai. The two were wearing common clothing and looked just like ordinary people. Bai Ningbing lowered her straw hat further down. "Here is 20 primeval stones." Fang Yuan was not nervous, he simply handed over a bag. The guards confirmed the amount, and immediately let them pass. Despite there being arrest warrants packed all over the city walls beside him which he could easily look at, he didn't give them a single glance from start to end. These arrest warrants were nothing more than superficial show. Shang clan prioritized profits. As long as one handed over primeval stones, they could enter the city. Every day, numerous demonic Gu masters passed under the eyes of these guards. Both sides had reached a tacit mutual understanding. Demonic Gu masters would sell their loots in Shang clan city, and they would also need to replenish any lacking Gu worms. Shang clan city was the best option for them. One could even say, one of the huge pillars for Shang clan city's development was the demonic Gu masters. Of course, the demonic Gu masters couldn't enter the city too brazenly and aggressively. After all, Shang clan city represented righteous path, and they would also need to consider some consequences of their actions. A wide street appeared in front of the two after they walked through the city gates. There were people moving to and fro on the street. Large tall trees were planted on both sides of the street, and under its shade were all kinds of stalls. Some sold food like sesame breads, soft bean curd, meat and vegetable dishes, while others sold jewelry and all kinds of other stuff. The two walked past the stalls, then they saw buildings, tall bamboo buildings, mud buildings and white-gray tiled houses. Shops, hotels, inns, smithies and so on appeared one after another. "This brother, do you need a room? Our price is very cheap, just half a primeval stone for a night." A middle-aged woman approached Fang and Bai with a smile on her face. Fang Yuan glared at her and left without saying a word. His appearance was really terrifying and gave the middle-aged woman a great shock. She did not dare to bother him anymore, instead changing her target to Bai Ningbing, who was behind him. "This brother, being away from home is not easy. Our inn is quite good, there will even be a pretty girl at night. It won't be cheap for you to visit the red light street. Mortals like us who travel outside to sell goods are using our lives to earn money, yet spending our hard-earned money on those places would not even cause a ripple. Our inn's girls are still the best, extremely cheap too. We have mature girls and even fresh, cute and adorable ones. What is your pick, brother? The middle-aged woman said in a soft voice, with a vague expression. She misunderstood Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing as mortals from their clothings. A dark frown appeared on Bai Ningbing's face. Get lost. She coldly snorted, her tone bone-chilling. The middle-aged woman's face rapidly changed, her whole body stiffened as she remained stunned on the spot. So she was a female. Haha, big sister Zhang, you made an error this time. The nearby workers who were of the same profession and were soliciting customers, roared with laughter and ridiculed the middle-aged woman. Along the way, Bai Ningbing had made great progress in disguising as a man, so even the experienced brokers made an error. Four Seasons Restaurant. 1 hour later, Fang Yuan stopped in front of a 5-story tall building. The building was made of white-black tiles, with vermilion gate and huge pillars. There was an aroma of wine and fragrance of dishes floating around the place. It was a famous restaurant in Xianxia City. Sirs, please come in. A smart waiter saw Fang and Bai, and quickly came out to invite them. The two had walked for a long while and the journey had been tough, they were also hungry, so they stepped into the restaurant. Sirs, please take a seat here. The waiter showed the way. Fang Yuan slightly frowned, this hall is too noisy, we will go upstairs. The waiter immediately revealed an awkward expression, I won't keep it from sirs, we indeed have private rooms upstairs, but they are only open to Gu masters. Fang Yuan snorted and revealed a portion of snow silver primeval essence. The waiter quickly bent down, I had failed to recognize Mount Tai, please come upstairs. When they reached the stairs, the waiter stopped, a young and sweet-looking girl walked over and spoke softly, Lords, could I ask which floor you want to go? Four Seasons Restaurant has 5 floors, first floor hall is for mortals, second floor provides for rank 1 Gu masters, third floor provides for rank 2 Gu masters, there is a 20% discount for them, fourth floor provides for rank 3 Gu masters and has 50% discount, fifth floor provides for rank 4 Gu masters and the services are free of charge. Fang Yuan laughed, fourth floor then. The girl's expression immediately became a bit more respectful. She bowed in greeting, please demonstrate your primeval essence. Chapter 260, each with their own schemes. Steamed lamb, braised duck, steamed 8 treasure pork, glutinous rice stuffed duck, stir-fried carp, assorted stuffed intestines, spicy oil crispy roll, honey yam, sliced fresh peach, 8 treasure ding, steamed bamboo shoots, ape lips, camel humps, antlers, bear paws, 3 fresh osmanthus soup, beeswax pork trotters, fresh shark's fin soup. A moment later, Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing sat at elegant seats on the 4th floor, as a spread of delicacies were presented before them, each possessing visual appeal, fragrant smell, and flavor. Fang Yuan picked up a pair of bamboo chopsticks, and casually ate a few mouthful. He first tried the steamed bamboo shoots, they tasted refreshing, raising one's concentration. He next took a piece of the fresh peach, its sweetness was perfection. Next he took the bear paw, it was plump and tender, just like the steamed lamb, tasting divine with just a bit of flavoring. Bai Ningbing drank a mouthful of the 3 fresh osmanthus soup, flavor spreading in her mouth as fragrance remained on her lips and teeth, causing her appetite to awaken. After spending so much time with you, this is the first time you are so generous. As she ate, she did not forget her sarcastic comments to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan laughed, not giving a reply, he knew Bai Ningbing's suspicion and impatience. He got closer to Xianxia, using all his effort to protect her laboriously. And yet at their destination, he purposely split away from them, this action was something Bai Ningbing could not comprehend. Fang Yuan was now rank 2 peak stage, only a step away from rank 3. The agreement he set with Bai Ningbing back then regarding rank 3, was approaching its end too. But Fang Yuan would definitely not keep his word. In his eyes, such a thing like integrity, was only a compromise made out of necessity, or a beautiful cover-up, like a convincing mask. Fang Yuan knew this, so did Bai Ningbing. Thus, she was starting to feel hasty. Because she had already sensed that Fang Yuan would break his word. Yet, there was nothing she could do to Fang Yuan. The Gu was in his possession, her hands were tied. Right now, without Bai clans hunting, and without beast hordes, Fang and Bai ate at the same table, giving off a sense of amiability, but their relationship was extremely tense. If they progressed one more step, they would fall apart and turn against one another. And this step, is Fang Yuan advancing to rank 3. Once he advances, he and Bai Ningbing would no longer have any hopes of reconciling, the two would have to face each other directly. How to deal with Bai Ningbing? Throughout the meal, Fang Yuan considered this. His cultivation could not stay stagnant. One day, the conflict will escalate. The situation now was very delicate. Fang Yuan had the upper hand because he controlled the Gu, but in fact, Bai Ningbing also held Fang Yuan's handle. She traveled along with Fang Yuan, experiencing Bai Gu Mountain's inheritance herself, while also saw how Fang Yuan attracted all those beast hordes to attack the caravan. She knew too much. Compared to the potential threat Ding Hao was, Bai Ningbing's threat towards Fang Yuan was far greater. If I finish off Bai Ningbing, I will not have to worry about Xianxia, but because my cultivation is insufficient, I missed the best chance to kill off Bai Ningbing during the caravan journey. Back then I needed her strength to ensure my survival. Moreover, with Xianxia nearby, I could not strike easily. This Bai Ningbing had always been wary of me secretly, and she has the ice muscles jade bones to defend her. I cannot finish her in one hit. Furthermore, her battle instinct is outstanding. With her recently gained experience, she is even harder to deal with now. Fang Yuan considered all possibilities as his thoughts flowed, but at the same time Bai Ningbing was also deeply considering her situation. Since leaving Qingmao Mountain, there's finally a time to rest and recover. I have to take back the Gu and regain my male body. I have little chance of succeeding if I directly snatch it, unless I can kill Fang Yuan in an instant. But this scoundrel, even though he is rank 2, his fighting strength is much greater than that, such a weirdo, with extremely experienced fighting techniques. Together with that scheming devious mind of his, capable of committing all heinous crimes, no morals can restrain him. He is somebody who can truly commit any sin. Most importantly, I have not discovered his true trump card yet. But I have my advantages. His current cultivation is still dependent on me, and I know too many secrets. Maybe I can use these things to force him to compromise. Using the poison vow Gu, and make an agreement with him that cannot be broken. Other than that, I can use plunder Gu, seize Gu, petty thief Gu and others to steal the Gu. Bai Ningbing was not stupid. She had been observing along the way, and considering her options. As the two ate on the same table, not even 3 steps away from each other, they looked like good friends, but were scheming against each other in their minds. The disappearance of external pressure caused their internal conflicts to surface. In this relatively safe environment in Xiangclan City, they had the time to consider such problems. But the more they thought about it, the more troublesome they felt the other party was. Fang Yuan did things without restraints, but Bai Ningbing was just the same. In her ideology, as long as life is exciting, anything goes. Morals and principles. What are that? They were very similar, looking at the world with disdain, and were strong-willed individuals, with an extremely thirst for power, only trusting themselves. From others' perspectives, they were accursed demons, scum that harmed society, their death would benefit the world. But because they were so similar, the two could feel each other's danger. The most difficult enemy to deal with was often oneself. Most importantly, they held each other's weaknesses. If they could not win in one strike, and allowed the other party to escape and recover, then both of them would go down in flames. The two got a headache the more they thought about it. This Bai Ningbing is not easy to deal with. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth, he had too little resources to manipulate. This Fang Yuan has almost no weaknesses. Bai Ningbing squinted, her eyes shining with cold light. The two could not think of anything, thus looking up at the same time, staring at each other. Their gaze met for an instant, before turning away. The delicacy before them, although delicious, had barely any flavor to the two who were deep in thoughts. Even though there was a 50% discount, Fang Yuan still paid 15 primeval stones. Shang Clan City indeed, commodities were expensive here. The two filled their stomachs, and left the restaurant. On the streets, Fang Yuan heard people discussing. Do you know? At the southern gate, Shang Clan leader appeared. How is this possible? It's true, he came and left like a flash, the entire street was thrown into chaos. Bullshit. What kind of person is the Shang Clan leader, why would he appear on the streets for no reason? Rumors spread as some claimed it was Shang Yanfei, while others denied it. Fang Yuan chose to enter from the eastern gate, while Xianxia came in from the south. By the time the rumors got to the eastern gate, the truth had already been distorted beyond recognition. Bai Ningbing heard this, and thought of it as just a passing rumor, not paying attention to it. Soon, people started a new conversation. But to Fang Yuan, it was a clear indication of events. He laughed secretly, it seems that Xianxia's situation did not exceed what he had expected from his memories. Next, he would wait for the fruits to mature, and land on himself. Quickly look, it's the flying blue whale, E-Clan's caravan is here. Suddenly, someone pointed to the sky, shouting in shock. At once, people on the street stopped, and looked up in the sky. A giant shadow engulfed everyone. In the sky, a giant blue whale slowly emerged. Well, compared to flying, one might as well say they are swimming. Flying blue whale was a huge beast capable of moving freely in the air. They lived above the 9 heavens of the eastern seas, having a peaceful and mild temperament. Often Gu masters used the whale enslavement Gu to control them and used them in the caravan. Flying blue whale was huge, like a small mountain, and the entire caravan hid within its body, as it flew in the sky. Compared to the caravan moving through the forests, the danger was much less and the speed was much faster. But the flying blue whale consumed up to 500 kilograms of food a day, only a large-sized clan could afford to feed them. In the entire southern border, only E-Clan owned flying blue whales. E-Clan is one of the overlords of the southern border, almost the same status as Shang Clan, and had a close relationship with the forces in the eastern seas. What a grand sight! Bai Ningbing sighed. She thought about the former Bai Clan village, this blue whale just had to land on Bai Clan village, and the entire village would be in ruins. The huge figure moved towards Shangliang Mountain, as the flying blue whale gradually landed on one of the mountain peak. Fang Yuan could see from afar, it opened its huge mouth and a large number of black dots emerged from its mouth. These dots were the E-Clan caravan members, but because of the distance, they could not be seen clearly. E-Clan caravan is here, the market is going to fluctuate again. I heard E-Clan brought a rank 5 Gu this time to auction on Shangliang Mountain. E-Clan and the eastern seas have a deep connection, they definitely brought many specialties from the eastern seas this time, there is value in purchasing them. The topic quickly shifted to the Yi clan caravan. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing walked up the path together. Guyu clan village was only a portion of Qingmao mountain, but Shang clan city covered the entire Xianxia mountain. In the southern borders, even the number 1 clan Wu clan, did not have such a massive mountain city. The entire Shang clan city had all sorts of buildings, bamboo buildings, dried mud houses, brick houses, shacks, tree houses, and even mushroom houses, caves, towers, castles, and much more. These structures blended together, covering Shangliang Mountain in a beautiful garb with assorted colors. As the trading hub of the entire southern border, Shang clan city occupied the most space among all forces. But if one thinks this is all Shang clan city has to offer, then they cannot be more wrong. This is only the outer city of Shang clan city. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing came to a huge cave. Would both guests like to enter the inner city? It will be 100 primeval stones per person. The Guardian Gu master requested. Just entering requires 100? Bai Ningbing expressed her shock. The inner city has a smaller space, this is to prevent irrelevant people from entering, and also to maintain social order. The Gu master replied respectfully. Shangliang Mountain had been modeled by Shang clan for thousands of years. Not only did they use up the surface of the mountain, but even deeper into the mountain's interior, they built an inner city.